All right, so we've got audio, 1, 2, 3, perfect. And let us begin. Shabbat Shalom, my dear friends, most esteemed and honorable judges, LVEI tribe, as well as all those friends listening. On this so precious and last day of Shabbat and of the year, 2022, which is on its way out, which will never come back, a rather special day, rainy, here in California, a rather expected day because we want 2022 to be out of here. This belongs to the 7th of Tevet, the 10th month of the year 5991, the 31st day of December 2022, and we shall study one more chapter of Revelation 17, part 11, Bethuwlah, part 3. We shall see how far we advance today. Minto, would you please turn the camera towards me? I forgot about turning around. Exactly. Perfect. There it is. Let's see how far we advance today, because today is the last day, and for many of you, you're already entering into the celebration of New Year's. So then today we'll leave behind and forever the nefarious 2022 year, and we enter into a year that has very, very hopeful connotations for us. The year 2023, very expected, the year in which we declared that the Jubilee would begin. So then we have many, many hopes in what will happen during this new year. But precisely, we say goodbye to this year on a Shabbat, and with this last, I don't know if it'll be the last, but this rendering of Revelation 17, which is rather spectacular, so as to not miss it and to understand it, because it is rather fabulous. Without any further ado, let us seek our Elohim. Beloved Yeshua, we give you thanks because you have given us this whole year of instruction, this whole year of protection, and we are waiting here this new year. We give you thanks because you have always taken care of us, and you protect us, and you encourage us. We know that we're living in the end of times, and rather we wish to go out and play. We wish to go out and play this last final. I ask you that all the things that we wish for and that we understand and that we have understood of your word be fulfilled this year. It be the best present of yours for your wife. And today we shall study the sacred prophecy of Revelation 12. Help us to understand it in your precious name, Yeshua, our husband. Alleluia. Today shall be New Year's Day. We have had a spectacular Christmas. Elohim has given us a summer day, a literal summer day, in which we could turn on the grill, make the Argentinian chorizos that we made, and without even wearing a coat because it was hot. I mean, it was hot like summer, just like summer, a day precious. While the rest of the U.S. is dying of cold, we had a hot summer day. Rather impressive day that Yahweh gave us that's precious. And today, last day of the year, it is raining. I just want to show you some little presents that I received during this week. These are from Nila Honor. I want to open them up because we've never tried them. Today we'll open it up and try it. This is a panettone tiramisu. Looks rather very, very good, mind you. Very, very good. And it got it to us from London. Thank you, Nila. This is rather spectacular. This tiramisu sweet bread and more biscuits of all flavors to keep the figure and more. Thank you very much. Everything got here perfectly well. Let's place this here, down here. This was sent by Josias and Graciela. They are for shirts or t-shirts, jerseys, however you want to call them. I think this is for Angelina. This one, Precious. Argentina with its precious son, Precious. This one is for Leslie. This one's for Leslie. And it says LVE, in other words, love, with a rather spectacular LVE ball, rather precious. This one's mine, just like Leslie's. It's just a little larger. Rather spectacular because what's highlighted are the words LVE. And this is for Brian, another different one for the collection. This one's for Brian. Rather spectacular, many thanks, Josias and Gabriela. Brian gave me this. Pardon? What'd I say? Oh, Graciela, pardon me, Graciela. Brian gave me this. It's rather spectacular. It's a mug to drink whatever cold drink. It could be a beer or whatever cold drink. You can take this out and freeze it. But what's interesting, of course, Eddie, who's here, the trooper of Iron Maiden, and with the Argentinian flag. And when the Argentinian handle, I loved it. It's got the Argentinian flag, Argentum. I love it. I wanted to present it to you because of that detail. I'm not going to present all the presents of Christmas because there's way too many. I don't want to present them. There's no need. Angelina gave me this one, a Hanukkah present. This one is from the same lineage of the octopus, if you see it. And this is a dinosaur, a baby dinosaur. He's upset. He's really upset, this dinosaur. And Angelina gave it to me in some Hanukkah presents, so then he's already here complaining, where in Christmas, pardon me, it's just that when we passed Christmas is also a day of Hanukkah, but it was specifically a Christmas present, specifically of Christmas, and it's a dinosaur that's super upset. He's demanding, where is the Eloheinu of justice? He goes with the other octopus, the son of the other octopus, we'll leave them here. Where is it? Because he's like very upset, this dino is. He's a dinosaur. A dinosaur, he's super upset, dinosaur is. For one, because there's no more, he says. And maybe they never even existed. But that doesn't matter. But this one does exist. He's green, he exists, and he's super pissed. And he's asking, where is the Eloheinu of justice? I loved it. I loved this dino. Which died millions of years ago. Yeah, they went extinct many millions of years ago. But the biggest one is in Argentina, which is an Argentinosaurus. And seriously, I'm not joking about this. They said they found it there. They just gave me this. It's not a Christmas present or anything, but it's just a present from the Martinez lineage, and it is a brutal French cognac. What's interesting, how pretty, what's interesting, aside from how fine it is that we're going to try, what's interesting it is that it's French and it's got a lion and it looks like a sun and it's got a lion. So they gave it to me like a lion. It seems to be golden. And French gives us this present saying, you are a good champion. We have been defeated. And here's the French lion. So here we've got this spectacular, delicious cognac beau salt. It's called something like that. Let's place it over here. Oh, don't fall on me, incredible. Oh, it's holding up. It hit the dome. What if it breaks? Because this would break the dome. If we send the Hulk to break the dome, he'll break it. Leslie and I gave this to Brian, and he put it together from Lego. It's the Millennium Falcon of Star Wars. It is great. It's the Han Solo ship. Han Solo would drive it. Spectacular the ship is. It can do up in here. Yeah. Where 3PO was R2D2. It's great. I mean, the best one. A canyon. A little canyon. A little canyon here. Just imagine when this ship becomes a reality and we can utilize it against the enemy. That'd be great. We've already got the tiny little model and we can make it bigger because it's rather spectacular. Take it, Brian, for the collection. We got the three things here that I think they're canyons, or what are they? Yep, they're the canyons. It already wanted to enter into battle. It already wanted to enter into combat. Very well. I think that's all for today. These were all Christmas presents. This bracelet is argentum. It's made of silver. I gave one to Leslie, one to Angelina, and one to Brian. And of course, I wanted for the whole lineage to have one of the same characteristics. So then I gave myself one. These are the Christmas spectacular presents. This silver bracelet, spectacular. Also the silver ring that I didn't have, and I gave it to myself. This ring is silver also, and it's got the tav. Many will see a cross there. I don't know if you can see it. Many will see a cross, but it's rather a tav. Rather precious. We'll be showing it off today. And this, I have this precious bracelet. It's also made of silver, argento, with many details that was given to me by the Martinez lineage. Many thanks, precious. I want to wear it today for all the criticism. Oh, how ostentatious. We're dressed with argento and, of course, the bracelet that says Shemah Israel, YHWH Eloheinu, YHWH Ekhad. Very well. Yeah, I know. Because there's always the one criticism. It's a silver bracelet with black diamonds. All little diamonds. The Martinez lineage clarified. It looks precious. You can't see it, but it looks, they shine in such a spectacular. It's precious. Many thanks, and also many thanks to all the presents that you gave us that I'm not presenting here. We had much fun opening. It was over 70 presents, over 70 boxes to open. We started by saying, let's go ahead and start opening before midnight. And we started way before midnight, and we started at 2 a.m. opening presents. Because each one would open one out, we'd see, we'd applaud. So then until 2 a.m. opening present, it was crazy. That's the way it is. Very well. Today is New Year's. And guess who just passed away? Pope Benedict XVI. Today. He was laid to rest. Benedict XVI at 95 years old. On the last day of the year, the Pope Emeritus, they call him that because he had stepped down, was laid to rest. Well, on the last day, everything happened on this year, on the last day of the year. What about those guys that still apply like we did as well? Revelation 17, the seven popes, and it's kind of weird. Obviously, it's not applied that way, but we could have it as a second or third application that it's 7 kings, 7 popes. That's got nothing to do with the fact it's not Babylon, the Catholic churches. But now, I don't know if it gets complicated or if the prophecy gets fixed a little bit. Who knows? But we'd have to say that the eighth, that was Pope Francis, that the eighth, we don't have to say it's one of the 7, but it's like the 7, because if it's one, that was not one of the 7. It says it's 7 kings. So then that prophecy directly is not applied. Because it says it's 7 kings, it can't be an 8th king. The 8th one is one of the 7. That's why it's 7, or else it'd be 8. Do you understand what I'm saying? But in order to try to make it fit, we could change the word of instead of saying one of the 7, but it's like one of the 7. But if it's like one of the 7, it makes it an 8th, and it's not 7, but 8. So then it gets complicated, but oh well. Today has died the 31st day of December, Pope Benedict XVI, Ratzinger. 2 days ago, on December 28th, King Pelé died at 82 years old. The king has died. And what does this have anything to do, aside from the fact that obviously it makes us sad to see that people that have so much talent and that have been loved in the world leave, but we see it prophetically speaking. This prophecy is not had by absolutely anybody, nor anybody has seen it. Only the eternal truth has seen it. And some of you ask yourself, but what does Pelé have anything to do with this? Some of you still don't understand what I teach, what I taught many years ago. I'll repeat it in 2 or 3 words. We got to go to the Torah, Genesis 10:25. And I'm wearing a shirt that Leslie gave me too for Christmas. I can't remember if it was Hanukkah or Christmas. Christmas, right? For Christmas and Hanukkah, which is the same thing. So then I'm showing off this new shirt that Leslie gave me. I love it. And it's cold today, so then it is great. Genesis 10:25 says, and to Heber 2 children were born. One of them was Peleg. It sounds a lot like Peleg, but of course, Peleg means division. Peleg, because in his days was divided the earth. Peleg means the division of the earth. And they named him Peleg. Why? Because he was a guy who had a prophetic name. He comes from the descendants, from the lineage of, what's the name? The one that was the son of, he was a Semite. He was son of Shem. So he comes from the Semite line. So then the son of Heber, one of his name was Peleg, because it's a prophetic name, because it means something. Because in his days was the earth divided, and his brother was Joktan. Okay, just at simple eyesight, it seems that maybe when he lived, when he was born till he died, the earth was divided. But see, what happens is that all the translations have not translated the concept. I understood this by reading all the comments, the Jewish comments, the Talmud and all the rest of the Jewish wise men, many, about this text. This text actually does not speak about how during his life, but at the end of his life. In other words, it was like Methuselah. Methuselah means when he dies, it'll be liberated. Methuselah died in 7 days. The great flood came. So then Methuselah means when he dies, it'll be sent. This is kind of like that. It's kind of like saying when he dies, it'll be divided. It's not during his life, because it doesn't mean during his life then. It means a time, because every prophecy marks a time. So then I learned that when I saw that all the Jewish comments said, actually the prophecy clearly says that when he dies, when he gets to the end of his days, then the earth will be divided. And what is the division of the earth? The Tower of Babel, precisely. The event of the Tower of Babel takes place when Peleg dies. I'll read on, and this time I'll read Genesis 10:31 through 32. Genesis 10:31 through 32. These were the children of Shem, by his families, by their tongues, in their lands and nations. These are the families of the son of Noah, through their descendants and their nations. And of these were the nations divided. See, that they were divided. They were spread out in the land after the great flood. In other words, when were they divided? When the event of the Tower of Babel took place. Now, that's where the name Babylonia comes from. The Tower of Babel represents Babylon. When all the people, all the world were asleep, they were as one, and they were Ekhad, they were as one. The people were as one, the tongues were as one, and they only have one mission in their mind: to build the tower. It's the same thing as now. All the nations, all the peoples, all the rulers have only one mission, one sole language, which is the cyber language science of science, pharmakeia, only one language. They don't have the same problem that's going around. They don't understand the same thing. If those who don't understand, they put him to rest. They pacify him. They who don't understand it, same thing. And now that they're all united for a new world order, which would be the statue, is Babylon. And that's when it falls. When it falls, Babel, the Tower of Babel, it represents the fall of the statue. It represents the fall of Babylon. So then what does the text say? When Peleg dies, the tower will fall. So then I said, how interesting is this? It's no good now. It was good for them. But Elohim makes the prophecies in some spectacular manner that really called my attention. The name. There's one sole name in the whole earth whose name was Peleg. And it wasn't just any name. It was a name. The king of football, he is recognized as, there's the arguments, the king of football at a level, king of football at a worldwide level, without any discussion for many. it was a guy that's so famous, and to top it off, his name was the same, Pelé. It was prophetic because it was a nickname, because his name is Edson do Nascimento, something like that, right? Edson Herantes do Nascimento, something like that. Don't correct me, please, if I said it the way it is. Yeah, because you correct me, everything. It says Di Maria. It's Leo Messi. Everything they correct me. Try to make your mind, and you'd have so many mistakes. Obviously, if I say 70 and 80, you can correct it in your mind. You know what it is to speak live and speak at a fast, not a slow thinking. What I'm going to say, no, I'm always saying a whole bunch of words, and of course, a couple of them will be wrong. So because I'm already thinking a minute ahead, my mind can't correct them. You can correct it now, because they're correcting everything that I say. You love doing that. Okay. What was I saying? Oh, that Pelé was a nickname, like a prophetic name. He was called Pelé. Called him Pelé when he was little. He hated it, but then he adopted the name of Pelé. And Pelé sounds a lot from Pelé to Peleg. And I said, wow, this prophecy, might it be that could Yahweh show it again? Because now the Tower of Babel is up again. It's called Babel, Tower of Babel. Now it's Babylon. The tower means the new world order, one sole government, one sole world order in all the senses. One sole education, one sole medicine, one sole science, one sole globe for everyone. Everything, they're all united. So then, precisely, there's a guy whose name is Pelé. And I said, it's got to be a sign for those that can see it. His wife, the day that Pelé died, at the end of his days, that is when the fall of the tower will come. Well, he died at a time that's so adequate that it would seem surgical. We just decreed the Jubilee. 2 or 3 days before the end of the year he dies. So that means that this 2022 ends the dominion of Babylon, in 2023 will the tower fall. That's what it means. So then I just explained it to you, the prophecy. I find it very interesting, magnificent, and that he died this year after Argentina was a champion, which we also saw it, and it is a prophecy, whether you like it or not, it doesn't matter. But Yahweh utilizes those things as a prophecy for those who want to see it. And everything coincides absolutely with everything. Very well. So then, I've already explained to you about Peleg, but the Queen Mashiach, long live the Messiah Queen. Very well. Shema Israel, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Ekhad. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh, our Elohim, Yahweh is one. That is the central subject of the eternal truth. You know this absolutely well. Proverbs 25:2. It is the glory of Elohim to conceal the word, yet it is the glory of the king to search out the word. And today we shall search out the word. Very well. This one was here. Amos 3:6-8. Jerusalem 2001. Will the trumpet sound in a city without the people not being scared? Or shall an evil come to a city without Yahweh having caused it? No, Yahweh doesn't do anything without revealing his secret to his servants, the prophets. Exactly. Before Argentina was a champion, we already knew it. And before, years ago, we knew before he would pass away, we knew that the final part, that King Pelé would die, which means when he dies, the earth will be divided. And divided, Babylon that is. Babylon shall fall, of course. Now the earth is united in one sole sense. It'll be broken. The lion roars, who shall not fear? The Lord speaks, who shall not prophesy? Exactly, the Lord Yahweh. Even Messi, the commentators, Argentina prophesies. That's what it means. Even Pelé is prophesying. When Yahweh wants to prophesy about something, that's what he says. The lion roars, which is Yahweh, who shall not fear? The Lord speaketh Yahweh, who shall not prophesy? He uses prophecies in whatever type, whatever he wants to do. Malachi 2:17. Ye have wearied Yahweh with your words, and you say, in what have we wearied him? In that ye say, whomever doth evil pleaseth Yahweh, and in such does he find pleasure. And if not, where is the Elohim of justice? And we're all demanding, where is the Elohim of justice? We're starting to see spectacular fulfillments. Even up until today, the news about how Benedictus left really shook me. There were two kings there, because many said, no, Pope Francis the Argentinian is fake. The other one's still alive. Well, he just died. Now it's one. And if that were not enough, Francis also presented his resignation. The resignation is already made. Because I believe, no, I don't know. It's evident. It said it, but if it was, I don't care. Apparently, the resignation says, I resign if I cannot use my mental faculties. How old is Francis? 86, right? 86. Pelé, 82. Francis, 86. 95. Almost 100 years, the other guy. And so then Francis says, if there is any medical problems, my resignation is already there. I don't know if he's going to do, if they're going to start to choose another one, that I don't know, nor do I care. But one died, and the other one presented his resignation. The king died, and the other one alive is the Messiah, and he is the GOAT, without a doubt. Wow, tremendous. I love the picture in the invitation that Leslie used. It is equal to him. That's why he's here, asking, where is the Elohim of justice? The dinosaur, the tiny dinosaur is here asking. And when, after thousands of years, when are they going to resurrect me? He says, millions of years. My dad, who's your dad? What? He says his dad is that Argentinosaurus. And he's going to grow like this, as big as him, the biggest of all of them. Let's see if that's true. Revelation 12:10, the book of the people of God, and I heard a powerful voice in heaven saying, salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God is here, and the sovereignty of his Messiah. For the accuser of our brethren has been cast down, the one who day and night he would accuse them before our Elohim. And immediately we start once again to unveil and take the cap off to this tremendous prophecy. Marvelous. Real quick, I'm going to repeat what I said last Shabbat. Real quick, Revelation 12:1. We'll start again. And there appeared in heaven a great sign, a woman dressed with the sun with the moon below her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. A great sign. John sees a woman in heaven dressed with the sun. Doesn't mean that she's illuminated by the sun. We've already studied this. It means that she is dressed with a dress that has the sun. She could have been dressed with flowers, or dressed in blue, or in white, or dressed with the sun. So then she's got a sun. And if she's got a sun perfectly well, it could be for us, as we understand, as if it were the Argentinian flag. And many of y'all criticize because the Argentinian flag has the Inca sun. I don't even remember what that god's son's name is. God Inti? Because before the Indians of the place of Peru and all the rest, they worship that god. And I find that perfectly well, because we're above Christianity against paganism. No. That paganism was established by God. That's why they worship the sun, because the sun is God. It is the representation of God. So he didn't give them the Torah, but give them some worship so as to entertain them, just so you understand. Now, Inti, the son, Inca's son, Inti, he was the brother of the moon, and he was married with the moon. Very, very interesting. Brother and married. Whom does that remind you of? Adam and Eve, which are rather bone of my bones, flesh of my flesh, siblings, and at the same time husband and wife. So then I found out to be very interesting. That's for the criticizers that say, but that's a pagan Inti god. Fuck you. I have no other word for you. Just like that. Go to hell. You're gonna go to hell. If you thought you were the little pure, immaculate Christian, Oh, that's paganism. No, you haven't understood a thing. It's all been paganism, even the Torah. To follow the Torah is paganism. That's it in a nutshell. It's all been paganism unless you understand who Yahweh is and you have understood that he came in person, that there's only one. The rest is paganism. And what's paganism? The worshipping of other gods. Other gods, gods that even God himself invented. That's why the serpent represents God. Others represent the sun, they represent God. They always worship things that represent God, but of course, we're way past that, way past that. And we understand that plan that Yahweh has made. Very well. So then, we see a woman dressed with the sun. She has a sun in her. The woman. That woman is not Israel. It's a woman which only the book of Revelation is for his wife. That's why it says this is the revelation of God to Yeshua HaMashiach, to his wife, the Mashiach. His wife, the Mashiach, at this point in time, is not God, has not the love of God, but Yahweh gives her to know what will happen in her time. It'll never be a such Jesus from 2,000 years ago, or else he would be a God that's not God. A person like us that doesn't know anything, and the Father has to tell him, we've studied that, and we'll read it quickly in the best way possible. So then, who is the wife? The wife, today I shall demonstrate. Nothing can be demonstrated, but today I will show to whoever wants to see that wife, that prophetic figure, is LVE, the eternal truth, this ministry, because she has to have all these characteristics that we have in order to be the wife of Yahweh. Yahweh cannot marry a certain woman, wants to kill everyone and disappear everyone and make them suffer in hell forever. Of course not. It's way past that. The wife of Yahweh has an open mind in every aspect. Very well. We move on. The moon below her feet, we interpreted two things. The first and foremost is that the wife knows the calendar of Yahweh, knows the feasts of Yahweh, even Christmas, what it means. And also, it means that the wife is the wife of the sun. That's why she's dressed with the sun. So then we could imagine the wife who is sitting on the moon represents the moon, and the moon represents the wife of the sun. So then we can also have that interpretation that we've already presenting. What are the stars? The stars that crown her are the children of Eloheinu. What are the children of Eloheinu? Well, it's 12 stars. The only group that comes from 12 groups are the 144,000. There's no other turn of the page. So if we want to interpret it, those 12 stars that she has above her head are not the third that will be saved, but rather are the 144,000. 12,000 from every one of those 12 stars that crown the wife. We shall study this up ahead. They are the army of Yahweh, those 144,000. Where they're going to come out from, I haven't the least idea, because they will be sealed. They will be sealed. I haven't the least idea who they are or anything. But they are a crown, the pearls that beautify and follow. And we could also say in one way or another, it's an integral part of the wife, because she's wearing it. Do you follow? The woman is wearing it. So then it's a part of her. There is no difference. There are three groups here. You've got the woman, you've got the 144,000, and you've got the third, okay? Three groups, very clear. And on the other side, two groups, which we've already studied and reviewed. A third belongs to Babylon. Who are they? The rulers, the politicians, the teachers, the scientists, and every institution and profession that is a part of the deceit. Because the medium of the devil and Satan were three things. What is it? Deceit. And what else? What else did it mean? Wickedness and injustice. It could mean a lot more things, but mainly the injustice of Babylon, the deceit of Babylon, and the wickedness of Babylon. With that, I believe that it's a good base for the meaning, the characteristics. It's got a lot more characteristics. So then, every governor, every politician, every person that works for the system, may it be newscaster that works for the informators, disinformators, whatever they are, the entire Machiavellian machinery that makes Babylon dominate the world, it's a third of the people. It's a great army. Babylon is one out of every three. The other 2/3 are the people, the slaves of Babylon. They don't want to listen to anything. They leave happily. They like their master Babylon, and they do whatever she says. Those are 2/3. And there's another third according to scripture, and that third rebels against Babylon. So then that third on the other side is the group. Another group is the 144,000, and another group is the Lamb, the wife, the Mashiach, or the children of Elohim, however you want to call it. But those are three different groups. Very well. So then, you already know, the 12 stars represent 144,000. 2. And she being with child, she was pregnant, cried, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. The most important part of this prophecy is that a man-child will be born. Exactly, a man-child will be born. But the most important thing is that this prophecy has to be fulfilled after the wife or the Mashiach starts to understand, because that's why you've got the apocalypse to understand it. Who has to understand it? The whole world starts to understand it. Nobody does, or they do it, or they think they do, but they don't. So many versions of Revelations, but actually the book is directed as a love letter to his wife. That is the Yeshua HaMashiach. The salvation of the Mashiach, of the wife, the children of Elohim. So then, the only one that will understand it correctly, it is good for the rest. It is good to be waiting for a God. It's good for them to be scared of many things. So then it's good for them, but it's not for them, but it's for the wife. It's a love letter of revelation of what will happen soon. Soon, of once you start to understand the book. Not soon 2,000 years ago. Do you understand? That's why it says these are the things that will happen soon. Soon when? Well, once they get to whoever they got to get to. They were going around for 2,000 years, but it gets to its recipient and reads it, understands it, then soon it'll happen. That is the idea of why it says soon, that Yeshua comes soon, briefly, once she receives the letter. The rest of the letter were not the recipient of the letter, only to say, wow, we never understood it, and it wasn't for you. It wasn't for you. It's got one recipient. Revelation says this is the revelation of Yeshua. So then this letter is meant for Yeshua, because it's the revelation of Yeshua that his Father gave her, that God gave her. So then, this letter is directed, it's a love letter, revelation for his wife. The rest reads it. They do so as a nosy person would. They're there. They want to interpret it. But of course, they'll never understand it because they don't understand whom the letter is directed to. The letter is directed to the Mashiach. If you're not the Mashiach, you won't understand it. But of course you won't. But once it gets to the Mashiach, the things will happen. How does it say? Soon, exactly. And they start to happen soon. Don't tell me otherwise. Everything starts to happen very, very soon. All kinds of things. Very well. So then, we've seen a sign. We've seen the sign the 23rd of September of the year 2017. A sign in the sky that I've explained already, of the woman during 9 months pregnant. And then after the sign, dissolved and left. The 23rd of September 2017, she gave birth, and then already the sign started to get dissolved. What does that mean? It meant that something was coming. That was a sign, as if to say, a curve is coming at you, or a city is coming at certain miles. A sign is not the fulfillment, it's a sign. The sign comes, and then you have the event. Elohim showed us in heaven a sign, saying an event comes. You don't understand it yet, but then you'll understand it. Later you will. And just like the shepherds saw a sign in the sky, they followed, and they didn't even understand, but they worshipped. They didn't understand what there was. Same thing as we saw a sign in the sky. Just like a time in Yeshua, we saw a sign in the sky. And then after it disappeared, we didn't understand. We said, oh, it wasn't fulfilled. It was fulfilled. Precisely at 69 years of Babylon, of the Tower of Babel, of building Tower of Babel for 69 years. In the last year, we saw the sign of the woman pregnant and giving birth. After that, we have to count 9 months. When she gives birth, 9 months. And those 9 months take us to the year 70 fulfilled. And it means, and it takes us to the Feasts of Autumn. In the Feasts of Autumn, an event happened that also did not understand right in the moment. We understood it later, understood everything later, because it'd be too nasty to be counting the days until later. Well, you can't. See, the prophecies can't be fulfilled that way. We fulfill them, we don't even notice what we're fulfilling. 1 year later, 9 months after we saw the sign, I'm going to write this down so you see it here. Let's move them over here, next to this one. They're both together. The companions are the two babies. They are so pissed, both of them. I like this one because this one's happy when it's red. But when it's Celeste, like the Albius Celeste, it's pissed. He is upset. Okay. Let's see if we can see this a little better. Captain America, can you scoot over a little bit? Say, don't get me out of here. Like that a little bit. Careful, don't break the dome. Hulk. Okay, Captain America, don't drop your shield. There you go. Let's set him there. I don't know if you can see it. Okay, the year, what was I going to place here? The year 2017. That was the sign. 9 months later, we get to the year 2018. 2018. Here, 9 months passed, right? 9 months. 2018, the Feasts of Autumn. From here, we've got 1,260 days, and we'll be studying that a lot. 1,260 days up until that. What year? What year? 2022. You already know the dates by memory. It was Yom Kippur 2017, plus the 30th of Adar, last day of the real year in the calendar of Yahweh. It's 1,260 days, but here there was a judgment. There was a judgment here. A judgment. Can you see it? Everything that I wrote, there it is. There was a judgment. This a little bit over so you can see better the word judgment. There you go. Okay, there was a judgment. Here we've got 1,260 days. That's the only thing I care about you seeing. There's not another 1,260. There's not 3.5 years and then 3.5 years. We say 3.5 years here and then 1,260 here. No. All the 1,260 that are in the Bible correspond to this period of time. I want you to understand that so that you can capture it here. The one that is in Daniel 7 corresponds to this. The one that is in Daniel 12 corresponds to this. The one that's found in Revelation chapter 12 corresponds to this. And there's another one that maybe we'll study later. But for now we're in chapter 12. So then, the sign 2017, 9 months later, Yom Kippur, the center of the Feast of Autumn, we started to study the new Germanic medicine. That protected us from what was about to come. It separated us, it changed us from a place, made us travel to a place of truth and not of lies like we were coming from with the beliefs of pharmakeia and all the rest. Okay, very well, that's very important. So then, being pregnant, being she with child, 2017, she gave birth. In September 23rd, 2017, 9 months later, we entered into Yom Kippur 2018. You're following, right? I can move on. 3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven. And behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. We see a great scarlet dragon, which in verse 9 it says that it's this old serpent, devil, and Satan. We've already interpreted that clearly. The keys have been given us to interpret this. There's no devil or Satan as a person, but rather it's a representation. Prophetically speaking, it's a symbol of the wickedness, injustice, deceit, lies, all the bad synonyms of Babylon. That is the dragon, Satan, the serpent of old. But of course, we had already been certainly interpreting that before. So then that symbol appears. Precisely, this dragon appears also lies, wickedness, and deceit. Simultaneously with the woman, this all appeared. Do you understand this? Okay, I want you to understand it because it's so clear. But you see it simultaneously. So then this wickedness, John sees that the dragon draws near unto the woman as a real person on the year 2017 and stands in front of the woman that's about to give birth. In Yom Kippur 2018, the lie, wickedness, and deceit stands there. Injustice stands before the woman, trying to devour her child as soon as she is born. We saw that clearly and exactly because the dragon was being formed that was to deceive and devour all the inhabitants of the earth with its lies, with its deceits, with its stupidities. And, well, more than stupidity, deceit, lies, and wickedness is a lot more than stupidity. That's why they're falling suddenly all over the place. You already know what I'm talking about. What was going to appear was Anukav. Anukav backwards in Spanish. The scene of the vacuum of the cows in Spanish. That was gonna, but that, it wasn't gonna appear that, but first the problem would appear. First is the problem, reaction, solution. Problem, reaction, solution. Problem, reaction, solution. And that problem came, nobody saw it. But you could see it on TV. The reaction came, we need this, and the people started to say, what were the people saying? We want, there's the one that I memorized from Trump, that son of a bitch. The word, what a son of a bitch. An absolute part of Babylon. That sicko. Test, test, test on a permanent basis. I hope they don't censor this. Testing left, right, and center. He would repeat it all over the place. And I was like, what the fuck do we care about? And then population started to be tested. And actually during this week I was thinking, I don't know if I've already given this before, but I was testing this. I was not testing, but I was thinking about this. I was thinking this over because when the test came before the Anukav, when the test came before the vacuum, the people with the test would shove it way up there. Revelation chapter 3. Revelation chapter 3. In the message unto Philadelphia, it's got something that I remembered only by memory, and I liked it a lot. I liked it a lot because the test, right? The test. Look at what it says 3:10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience. What is it to keep the word of my patience? What started with Yahweh taught us. I also will keep thee from the hour of the test, of the temptation. See, of the test. Didn't the temptation come? They shoved it even up their asses, from their noses to the ass. The test was going to come. The test was going to come. And it says precisely, the test comes upon the whole world. That's where the test started. That's where the hell started. Test. They were like, test, all over the place. It says, I will keep thee. I ask you, did he keep us from that test or not? Wow, how did he keep us? We would just be laughing our asses off here. Like, shove that test up your ass. It says, I shall keep thee from the test that shall come upon the whole world. Did that test come upon the whole world or not? Upon the entire world, rather. Not upon a country, not upon a region, not upon just some little town, but the entire world. On what part of the whole world? It came unto the entire world. I taught you this sometime relating this text. I can't remember this, but actually it's rather very good. It says, for you have kept the word of my patience. I will also keep thee from the hour of test that will come upon the whole world. To test, they have to be tested. To try them that dwell upon the earth. Were they tried? Yeah, they were tried, and then they were Hanukaved. They were vacuumed in the scene. But it's the hour of the test. You know what? Take that test, shove it up your ass. Way up there where the Argentinian sun don't shine. Shove it up there, you son of a bitch. But I heard to say that with that certainty, without being scared. Without being scared. Look, we weren't saying no, because I think that, no. We would laugh our asses off. The true LVEI, not of some. I'm not talking about some that were not too firm. They were firm as holding by a thread. I'm talking about the true LVEite. That true LVEite was laughing his ass off about these tests. Do you understand what I'm saying? It is so clear, absolutely clear. He was laughing his asses off about this test. But the test came upon the whole world. But we were protected of that test and of what would come after the test, because of the consequence, everything would come, the vacuum and all the rest. Right, very well. Very well. So then, that scarlet dragon deceives the whole world, but simultaneous. Look at the final deceit, because the world was deceived all the place. It's only in lies with the inheritance of our fathers. Everyone says that in the earth, but the final deceit take into effect by Babylon is that test. That is the end, the final, where they present everything that deceived the whole world. The whole world was deceived in everything, I understand that, but it's the final test, of which we were But I'm talking about olympically and incredibly taken out from that test. So then, this sign that this great deceit is seen. It says that it had seven heads, but of course, it is originated by him that governs the world, which is Babylon, which is Israel, which is the one that has the seven heads, guiding, which is Jerusalem, a city in particular. That race is that guides the whole world entirely, and we see who owns the news, who owns Hollywood, who owns the presidents, who owns gold, and they own the banks and Wall Street and everything. Who owns all that? You see then who rules the world, those heads. But of course, the ones that you can't criticize, that's the one that has the power. Exactly. The rest are all puppets. So then what's it say, the prophecy? It says that it had seven crowns because they crowned itself a king because the little horn, these seven heads, are already got to the apex of its power. They won't have any more than this. And we've already understood that text, then we go on to the next. And its tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven. That tail means, as we start in Isaiah, is lies and deceit. But it's all lies, but it's another symbol that with its tail and lie deceived the third part of the stars of heaven. Okay, within the concealing that this prophecy has the entire world, Bible, it's not the stars of heaven, but rather is the stars of the children of Elohim. The children of Elohim are all the human beings, which means that 1/3 of the human beings are his stars, are his army. So that Babylon is composed by 1/3. It's not tiny in a little group, it's 1/3 because every professor, every ruler of all aspects, even of a town, the president to the very last ruler, scientists, educators, not to mention religion, and I'm referring to those that wear a white robe. That one, it's a worldwide religion. The Pharmakeia religion, they are the true priests. They come and with their holy water and with their potions, they take the demon out that no one sees. That's the religion. It's one soul religion. That's why the religion was tested. That is the actual religion. It's not the other ones. Not those. It's not Catholic. No. The religion of the world is called Pharmakeia. That's the religion. And in fact, the whole world was tested with it, except for a third. It's impressive. So then, with its tail, it drew the third part of the stars of heaven. 1/3, it's an integral part of Babylon. It is the army of Babylon, and cast them on the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which is the eternal truth of this year, 2017. When we were getting to 2018, when she gave birth, stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered. We still don't get to Yom Kippur 2018. The dragon stands to devour her child as soon as it was born. He said, I can no longer devour the mother. I have to devour with lies what? The deceit, to enter into the jaws of lies, and for the lies to be your king. The deceit, so it says, I can't devour the mother, but the child, I will make it Hanukkah as soon as it's born. I will deceive it, and it'll pass on over to my army. That's the idea of devouring lies. The system wanted to devour that child that was about to be born. And here I'll read a text before moving on, because up until here we studied. Let's go to Zechariah chapter 13. Zechariah chapter 13, 8 through 9. As far as we're going to, I have 191 likes. If you forgot to give us a like, please give us a like, because maybe you're too concentrated on what I'm saying and what's coming up now. Wow. What's coming up now is rather brutal. All those that forget to give us a like, please give us a like, please. Very well. Many thanks. It's going up. I know that maybe we're going to lose many people in what we're about to teach lately, what we've been teaching, because those people have to leave. They don't belong to this group. They don't belong to this group. They try to belong, but actually they don't. Only those who have to belong are going to stay. Zechariah 13:8-9 says, and it shall come to pass, and it shall come to pass in all the land. In how many parts of the land? The entire land. Yahweh saith, 2 parts therein shall be cut off. The 66.6%, that's where you get exactly the 2/3, the number of the beast. 1/3 is the beast, and the other third is deceived by the beast. So then we've got 2/3. We've got the name 666. That is the marked number. And it shall come to pass in all of the land, saith Yahweh, that 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die. But the third shall, so then they will die in the 7th millennium. But of course that's what it means. They shall die. But the third, 1/3, 33.3, a very good number, 33.3. And Christians are terrified by that number. 33 is Mason. Well, 1/3 is 33.3. But the third shall be left therein. The third shall be left therein. But of course, 1/3 shall be left therein to live the 7th millennium. And I will bring the third part through the fire. Hey, wait a minute. They weren't escaped so easily. It says that the third part that is left, the other one is cut off. Fuck off to hell, once and for all. That's the expression. The third part that is left, I will pass through the fire, the third part, and I will refine them as silver is refined. Once again, we get there. It's not the same argentum word, it's silver. There's no other word about it. As the silver is refined, because one part was already refined as silver, but this third part was not refined. They are saved for the 3rd millennium, but they're not refined. Do you understand this, right? The only thing that they have in their favor is that they were not assigned unto the beast. The beast could not dominate them. If the beast marks you, then you're part of her. Maybe you are a beast already, because maybe you have a title and you work for the system. You could be a beast already. But if not, you're not a beast. You could be a servant to the beast. That marks you as a slave, as a servant. But there is 1/3 that can be excellent, super sons of bitches. They don't care about anything, give a fuck about anything. But Babylon does not rule them. They are pure bloods, I'm going to say, in one sense or another. That third of the earth is not purified. So then they must be purified. You understand that, right? It's excellent. And I will put into the fire the third part, and I'll refine them as silver is refined, and I will try them as gold is tried. They, that third, shall call on my name, because they used to not call on his name. So then the third, that is that they don't call on his name. Maybe they call it, but wrongly said, a trinity, who knows, or absolutely nothing, or we're Jews. There's a mixture of everything. Those who do not submit unto the beast. He will call my name, that third part, and I will hear them. And I will say, it is my people. Before they weren't. They were just a third of the earth. And it says, my people, and they shall say, Yahweh is my Elohim. That is what they're going to say. But in order for them to say, Yahweh is my Elohim, that they're not saying it now. They have to be refined. Do you understand that, right? Very well. And now we shall move how they'll be purified. Let's start with that. How they're going to be purified. That third part. You maybe are already imagining, okay, here we got last Shabbat. And last Shabbat I asked, if the woman is the eternal truth, LVE, who is the son? And now I'm about to respond. Number 5. And she, the woman, brought forth a man-child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up unto Elohim and to his throne. Who is that man-child? But of course, if you think that it was Yeshua, that it was caught up until him, that has absolutely no sense. But he was not caught up unto God. He was the only God that there was, so nobody could catch him up when he's the only Elohim there is. That is more than clear. So then this man-child is a symbol of that child of that Son of Man, in Daniel 7. And that Son of Man in Daniel 7, who are they? The supreme saints. Who are the supreme saints? The Mashiach, the Messiah, the Christ, the wife, the sons of Elohim. That one, that supreme saint, are those who will rule with a rod of iron all the nations. And notice what it says, that man-child, his son was caught up unto Elohim and unto his throne, but it gave a birth to a man-child that would rule with a rod of iron unto all the nations. That man-child was to rule after it was born in the future with a rod of iron all the nations. But it is more than clear. How many rules of rod of iron could there be? We have to go to Revelation 2:26 to 29. Revelation 2:26 through 29, and it says, Yeshua speaking, and he that overcometh, and keepeth my works unto the end, even to the penalty shots. You gotta overcome, France, Babylon. And to him that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations. Wow, very interesting. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron. It's very clear. Those who get to the end, they are going to be the ones that will rule with authority, and they're going to break with a rod of iron the nations. Yeshua's saying it, not him. He's not coming to rule anyone. He says that he gives authority to the group that overcometh. And keep my works unto the end, I will give him authority over the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. As the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father. It is very clear there already. He closed everything. If he is the Father, of course, he's talking about everything in parables. That he's saying is for the bride of Yeshua. And I shall give him the star of the morning. Give him what? That is the divinity, because he is the star. Gives him his divinity to those that get to the end. Those who get to the end, to the penalty shots. Those who do not give up, and they're already designed by this. That authority is the star of the morning. That star of the morning is him. That Lucifer is him. It is a power set in a different way, of course. He that had ears to hear, but of course, hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. If you don't have ears, don't worry. The only one that has ears to hear exactly all this is the wife. The rest sees this, read it, think they understand it, don't understand absolutely anything. Psalms 2:7 through 9, you already know this by memory. It says, I will declare the decree. Yahweh hath saith unto me, Thou art my son. This day I have begotten thee. Ask of me. And I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. He doesn't come to break them himself, but rather his children. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. Thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. This also means that when this begins, given him the authority to do judgments, so then these are the supreme saints, and the text says, And she brought forth a man-child, who was to rule all the nations with a rod of iron, and her child was cut up unto Elohim and unto his throne. It is very clear that it's not the Yeshua of 2,000 years ago, it's the Mashiach. It is the bride, it's the children of Elohim who will be born in Revelations, but they'll receive the star of the morning. It's a power. And it says, and her child was caught up. Actually, it'd be better if it said empowered. Caught up is fine because he was caught up from lies. If the dragon was caught up from whom? From lies. Or empowered for him. Caught up from lies unto Elohim and unto his throne. Why unto Elohim? Because it's his wife, and wife to his throne, because he's going to sit his wife. So then the son is his wife. So then which is it? The mother, the wife, the son, the wife. What is it? The word harpazo, which was translated as caught up, is G726, Greek 726. The word harpazo means caught up. This does not mean raptured or transferred immediately. Well, I'll tell you what it is. That was just my commentary. Harpazo says to power over or to take over. That is the word harpazo, but it does not mean with violence, but rather it means that it's to separate from, to get caught up and be separated from. Okay, this gets very difficult. And if we don't interpret it correctly, we'll never understand, or we shall understand the truth. Here comes the answer. If LVE is the woman, who is the Son of Man? Okay, it's difficult to understand for you, maybe. For me, it's very easy. It's already solved. The woman and the Son of Man is not two different separate entities. Actually, they're symbols of the same thing. The wife are the two things. To give birth to a son, it does not mean that from her comes a new entity, but rather she gives birth to the understanding. It's when the wife becomes. So then this is what's difficult. Maybe your mind cannot understand it, but those who have to understand it will comprehend it. These are symbols. Absolutely symbols. When the wife gives birth to the Son of Man, it means that she gives the birth to the understanding of its true understanding. It's like the transfiguration. How can we see it? It's the same case of the Father and Son, identical. They may seem to be two, my Father, the Father and the Son. They're common. And notice this, the Mother and the Son. It's one. It's only one being. The Father and the Son turned out to be only one being. So then, at this prophetical level, the Mother and her Son is one sole being. You understand it? Okay, if you understand it, that's perfect. It's the same case of the Father and the Son. Every time Yeshua would say, my Father and I, who was he referring to himself? The story of the Father and the Son in God is only one sole being. The story of the Mother and the Son, it's only one being, same being, one sole being. It's just that it's seen from a different form, becomes a different form. The wife does. Okay, if you understood that, that's perfect. Very well. So then, I'll repeat this again. The woman and the man-child is one soul and the same entity. The wife, the Lamb, the Son of Man, the children of Elohim, the Christ. Everyone are separate entities? No. Exactly, no. So then, both the wife as the children of Elohim is the same entity? Of course. So then, both the wife as the Christ, same entity? But of course. So then, it's just another title. The wife, when she gives birth to the son, it's when she starts to understand who she is. It's a prophetic symbol, okay? A prophetic symbol. Very well. And we've got the 1260 days here. This is the period that the Son of Man, which is the woman also, it understands everything. I'll explain it. 6, and the woman fled unto the desert. And the word, notice well, she fled, she escaped, she fled unto the desert, where she has a prepared place, prepared by Elohim unto her, that she be fed there for 1260 days. Here we've got 1260, there's not another 1260, but yet there's the 1260. Notice, as soon, right at the instant that she gives birth to her child, it says that her child is caught up or taken up unto Elohim, and the woman flees into the desert. Exactly the same action. That taking up of the child, as the woman is the child, and the dragon wants to deceive her, before she becomes into that transfiguration to a son, before she understands that the woman is not just a woman, but actually the Son of Man. When the woman understands that she is the Mashiach, the dragon wants to still deceive her, then Yahweh separates her and takes her where? To the desert, and the woman fled unto the desert in the moment in which the Son of Man is born. And a candle just died off. In the moment in which the Son... Well, I said a candle, but it's a light. That's not a candle. In the moment in which the man-child... Do you think you need to replace it? The woman, when she gives birth, to give birth is to understand. When you give birth to an idea, you understood something. We agree, right? Okay. When the woman gives birth, she flees. When the woman understands, she flees. So then what's it say? The woman fled into the desert in the moment in which she gave birth. She fled into the desert where she has prepared by Elohim unto her. So that right there, she is kept for 1260 days. Very well. So then, this does not mean at all, I don't even know why I mention it, the persecution of the Catholic Church of the year 538, absolutely nothing to do with the fact. not even to mention it anymore. It's got nothing to do with fact, because this prophecy is for his wife. So then, these 1260 days will be a period of education for her. The word to be fed, I mean, you can look it up, but the word to be kept, it means to fatten up. Actually, if they translated this correctly, because one thing is to sustain and another is to fatten. When you use the word to fatten, it's more than to sustain, but rather to give her the best of the best. And in a lot of quantity, such a quantity more than what she needs, and you start to get fat. Okay, very well. What if I read it like this? And the woman fled into the desert, where she had prepared of Elohim that she should be fattened for 1260 days. And why was she to be fattened? Because it was going to be instructing. Such nutrition of instruction for 1260 days that she was going to give birth to something else, the judgment. So then we go back to this time. Yom Kippur 2018 starts the nutrition of, starting with Germanic medicine and everything else, following up with everything else that was to come, which was marvelous, absolutely marvelous, to understand who is the Son of Man. Everything, not even to mention, it's too many things, too many, and I like to mention some of them. The apocalypse of children of Elohim, the wife has no idea. The purifying hell, even less. All the things that came during this period of 1260 days took us, and from Israel also, of who the beast is. I mean, we didn't even know who the beast was. The woman was pretty lost. She'd look towards Rome, towards the popes. Pretty lost. What came was a food that was so solid that it made us fatten. To fatten, it's the appropriate word. Wives started to fatten with wisdom for 1260 days. And why the symbol of the desert? Because the symbol of the desert, we have to understand it in the context. Before we used to say a place desolate and empty. No, that's fine. But what's the contrary? Where was she before? In the presence of the dragon, in the presence of lies. So then, so that we understand the symbol, the inhabited place physically, it's a place where there's more lies. Precisely, it's where Babylon is populating. In the desert, nobody can be deceived. There's no lies. So then what does this mean? Where the dragon is, where the Tower of Babel is, where Babylon is, it's the center of lies, of deceit, and of injustice. We do agree, right? In the desolate part of the earth, it means that she is empty from lies, deceit, and injustice. So then if the woman is taken into the desert symbolically, it means that she is drawn away from what? From lies and deceit. I mean, this is pure symbolism. In these 1260 days, Yahweh was to show unto the woman a desert of lies. In other words, you understand? It was desert empty of deceit and injustice, inhabited only by the truth. The eternal truth showed us the lies of the pharmakeia. That made us get away from the test that was going to come upon the whole world. Showed us all the rest of the truths, taking away lies, taking away lies of Rome, that it was the cloud. We're still waiting for the Son of Man. Oh, bunch of lies. I can't even mention them, but it's too long. It's 3.5 years. Until the last day, he made us understand, and now you'll make judgment. And then after 3 days and a half, in other words, 3.5 years, 1260 days, he crowned us. After being 1260 days in the desert, he crowned us and gave us the title of Supreme Judges. That is something unthinkable. It's marvelous. I show it to you so that you can see it. How the woman was fattened so much, and she crowned herself, received the title of Judge Supreme. And now give your judgment upon Babylon. First made us swear as judges. Now then give your sentencing. But that was the crowning of 1260 days of fattening, of instruction of the best. That is something that is marvelous. How was it fulfilled? We didn't make that up. It was fulfilled by itself. Now we understand it, but that was fulfilled on its own, absolutely on its own. The desert then means instruction, purification away from lies, feeding away from the injustice and deceit. That is the desert. That's why the woman flees into the desert, flees from the lies. Who was before her? It was before the lies, who was the dragon. And she flees into the desert where the dragon is not, symbolically speaking. So then the desert in this case means truth, believe it or not. It's a desert that is free from lies and injustice and wickedness. That's where there's no more test, and I could care less about everything else, and even less the scene of vacuums.
And even we can literally see it physically in us too.
I told Leslie, we even see that physically. During these 1260 days, we have fattened up physically to give even more strength to the prophecy that we are being fattened. Physically, we were fattened. We're trying to eat, but to transfer it, and we understand it to the spiritual prophetic level. But physically, also, we fattened. Because first, we suffered less, and then we start to be fattened spectacularly. It's marvelous. Exactly. And for me, it's prophetic. Even going up in weight was prophetic. It's all prophetic for me, both Leslie and I. We were fattened for 1260 days. Incredible. Absolutely incredible in order to understand it. So then, very well. The part about where she had a place prepared that she'd be fed or be fattened for 1260 days. That woman, which is the man-child, is fed or fattened, instructed, and purified for 1260, and gets to the end and makes judgment, graduates as a judge. It's exactly the same story of Daniel 7. Let's read it. Because we're in Revelation 12. It's got everything has to coincide. Daniel 7, 25 through 27 reads as follows. Daniel 7, 25 through 27. Angels speak great words against the Most High. This ring of the cross or tav, I love it because now it's a lot better. For the little horn here you have the tav, this tav, for the little horn. And if that wasn't enough, then this one too. Well, no, I'd have to put the line here. With the line also, very well. And shall speak words against the Most High, this son of a bitch, horn or little horn, same thing. Or the dragon, we could say the dragon, the devil and Satan, same thing. It says, and he shall speak words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High. It doesn't say wear out, but shall subjugate or try to subjugate. And shall think, he cannot do it like France. He shall think, he shall try to change, planify in changing the times and the laws. The New World Order, a change, a reset, the Great Reset, change the times, to reset the times and the laws, and to change all the constitutions, because the constitutions still protect us, even though a lot of importance wasn't given to them. But really what they're trying to do is to change all the constitutions of the world. And shall be handed over in his hand until time, and half a time. Once again, 1260 days. He's going to do with the world whatever he wanted. He was going to mark the world entirely. He was going to try the entire world. This I'll read again. And shall be handed into his hand until time, and half a time. 1260 days. For those that don't know, this time is 1 year. Plural is 2 years. Half a time is 6 months. 1260. But the judge shall sit. It doesn't say judge, but the judges. The tribune, precisely what? The 1260 days. The tribune and his dominion shall be taken away. That's what he's got now, his dominion. His dominion was taken away to King Pelé. They took the dominion away from Benedict. And they took the Benedict from France. Look, Argentina, France, there was a detail that I forgot to say the other day, that Argentina takes the cup away from the world champion, not just anyone, not Germany, not even the actual champion. When plays Argentina, France is defending her title. Took it away. The Mashiach takes away the title from the champion. There's no best way of showing Babylon against his wife. I mean, it's so clear. Absolutely clear. Very well. 36 years. I don't know if that's prophetic or not, but we took it away way before 76. And take away her dominions to be destroyed and ruined until the end. Perfect. When the tribune is sat, and that the kingdom and dominion and the majesty of the kingdoms under all heaven has been given unto him, unto the people of the supreme saints, whose kingdom is eternal kingdom, and all the dominions shall serve him and obey. It is more than clear. It's the man-child that will break all the nations as if they were clay pots. It's exactly the same story, same prophetic time. And now we go to Daniel 12, and I'm going to read in the word of God unto everyone. The word of God unto everyone. I'm going to read Daniel 12, 3 through 13, so that you see that it's the same story that we're reading in Revelation 12. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. Daniel shut up the words as a secret and sealed the book even to the end. Interesting. No one shall understand this until that prophecy of Daniel 7 was sealed. The wife took away the seal. And many people shall move from one place to another trying to look for the true knowledge, but they're going to find false knowledge only. Many people will try to understand the prophecies, but only those who have ears to understand would understand. Only those that must do judgment would do judgment. Only those that were in the desert for 1260 days fattening would do judgment, or else not. You see how this was fulfilled only once and can never again be fulfilled. Wow, I mean, it gives you chills. 1260 days when the dragon stands before the woman and wants to deceive her, wants to Hanukav, wants to devour her, the countdown starts with Germanic medicine. I mean, there's nothing better to protect oneself from that lie and to protect oneself from the test. 1260 days, judgment. This cannot be repeated because the dragon already crowned himself. The dragon already deceived the entire world. Already everything's been fulfilled. I want you to understand this. It's all been fulfilled. I mean, that's it. It's over. That's it. It's already cooked. That's it. There's no other group that could fulfill it. It's already been fulfilled by the eternal truth. It's the only wife that Yahweh has. It says as follows, and many people will trying to find the true knowledge in the book of Daniel, but they won't understand it, and the knowledge shall augment. Yes, it'll augment, but the wife would understand it all. Then I, Daniel, looked, and behold, three stood other two, the one on this side of the bank of the river, and the other on that side of the bank of the river. The one said to the man, clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, how long shall it be to the end of these wonders? How much longer? That's what I'm asking myself. Where is the Elohim of justice? How much longer has to pass? I mean, nothing is fulfilled. How long does it have to pass? And the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters, and represents Yahweh, whether he is or not, doesn't matter. He was the most important one there. He was floating in the water. The man dressed with linen that was upon the waters rose up his hands unto heaven, and I heard that he made a promise in the name of Elohim that lives forever, and said, it'll be 3.5 years, 1260, the same prophetic time. Since the sign appears 9 months later, Yom Kippur 2018, everything ends in the 30th of Adar 2022. Judgment, that's where everything ends. And from then on out starts the fall of Babylon. And it says, and it'll be 1260 days. And the power of the holy people shall be destroyed. And then all these things shall come to happen. Very interesting. Depending on the version, it's very difficult to interpret. I interpret it in a different way, that precisely the people, the power of the holy people should be destroyed. The power of the holy people is not we, but them. They have the power now. What power do we have? They want to destroy us even more. If we're semi-destroyed, the power of the holy people should be divided. What power did we ever have? Did we ever have any power? Never, ever. But once we have it, it'll be eternal. But we've never had any power. We do agree with this, right? So then, what is the holy people here? Obviously, since this book is enclosed, it kind of gets you dizzy. That is the Babylonian people. That is, since Jerusalem ruling, prophetically speaking, Jerusalem, it's all that. It's the enemies. It's the generation of the serpent. It's Israel. Of course, it's Israel. It's the 8th head. That was the first head. That is it. That's why it says it'll be 3.5 years. And then what happens? The power of the holy people should be destroyed. Does the holy people have power now? They have all the power. They have all the fucking power. All of it. Absolutely everything. There's no more power than hers. There's no more power. Is there more power than them? Theirs? They own pharmakeia. All of them. All of them. All of them. All of them. They don't even want to mention them because then they censor us. Look at these sons of bitches. I have to speak in parables. I ended up as Yeshua speaking in parables. They have the pharmakeia and the power of gold and the banks and all the Wall Street and everything in the world. The political power, the news power. They own every business of entertainment. I'll say it like that. They own porn. They own Hollywood movies. They own everything. But what's it say? 3.5 years, and the power of the holy people, those sons of bitches, will be destroyed. And then all this shall happen. Finally. Look, I mean, this, I'm not interpreting this now. It was many years ago, if you remember it. I heard what the mem said, but I didn't understand. But of course, it wasn't for him. It wasn't for him. It wasn't for the Christians. It wasn't for those who wanted to understand, but for his bride, for no one else. Then I heard what the man said, but I did not understand it. So then I asked him, my Lord, what shall happen when all these things happen? And he answered me, Daniel, go thy way. All this is a secret. What is all that? It is a secret. All this is a secret. And the message shall be closed until the time of the end. I mean, it could be any more clear. It says, Daniel, go on your way. Go on your way. This is all a secret. No, but if the Catholic Church discovered it, the Christians discovered it, also Martin Luther, Luther or Lutero in Spanish. I think Christian wrote to me about this. He says, you see what Lutero means? Look at it. Well, it's the uterus, le uterus. It means that all the Christians, which are all Protestants from the uterus, they have to be born again. So then every Christian go back to the uterus. I loved it. Excellent. I had never seen it that way. Luther, which is the reformer by excellence, actually he's saying with his name, back to the uterus, kids. Everyone, you have to be born again because you don't understand shit. Like Yeshua told Nicodemus, back to the uterus. You go back to your mother's cunt, to the uterus. Sounds a little softer, to the uterus. Are you Lutheran? Are you Christian? Back to the uterus. Back to the uterus. Yeah, I believe in Luther. Yeah, back to the uterus. Once again, of your mother. Back to the uterus of your mother. But you see, I had never seen that phrase. Luther, uterus, le uterus. You go back to the uterus. Where to? To the uterus of your mother. All the Christians, all of them, all the Christians loved it. But what's that say? But what does the messenger angel tells Daniel? It says, Daniel, go on your way, you idiot. Anda pa allá, bobo, like Messi said during the World Cup, which means, what you looking at? Go on your way, you idiot. It's all secret. And the message shall continue to be concealed until the final time. That's what he's saying. Anda pa allá, bobo. Go on your way, idiot. Mind your own business, idiot. This is all a secret. Daniel, this is all a secret. And the message shall continue to be concealed until when? Until the final moment. We got to the final moment. The message was opened. We made a judgment. 1260 days being fattened in the desert, free of lies. And for that same reason, only the woman understands this book and Revelation. Many people shall be tested and shall be purified and perfected. That's another test. It is the test that comes now, which is up next. But those who have been wicked shall do wickedly and shall not understand anything. Babylon, exactly. Babylon and her followers. Babylon and her followers, here you have the two parts, okay? Many people should be put to the test, a third part of the earth. It wasn't us. We were fattened. We were not put to the test. We were fattened. And we laughed our asses off about the seeds of the dragon. Many people will be tested and shall be purified and perfected. That is the third, that is purified as the silver and gold. But those who have been wicked, the 2/3, one is Babylon and the other are the slaves of Babylon. But those who have been wicked shall continue on and shall not understand anything. They're not even going to become aware. Yet the wise men, those are us. Those wise men, that wisdom is the wife. The wise man shall understand everything very well, it says. Exactly. We're not purified. We've already been purified. But we didn't go through the final purification that the third of the earth will go through. This is the same story that I've been telling in different cameras, different prophets. Yet the wise men, the supreme saints, the wife, the man-child, the woman, however you want to call him, the Mashiach, shall understand everything. How? Very well. And 1290 days shall pass, and here that started off, and we perfectly well know that it's when the abomination started. We know that clearly. 1290 days shall pass. Since the offering is prohibited, that makes no sense, but the abomination that maketh desolate. When the abominable idol is set up, that abominable idol is the holy water with toxins, which contain the anukav. Very fortunate shall be, very fortunate he that waiteth and survive. What's it say? Shall be very fortunate he that waiteth and survive the 1335 days. I'll read this again. Very fortunate is he that waiteth and survive the 1335 days. When do the 1335 days end? They end on 2/17, already in the year 2023. Now, Daniel, follow on your way till the end. Thou shalt rest, and then in the end of days thou shalt rise up to receive your reward. The promise that he has to be resurrected to receive his recompense, Daniel. So then this is the same story of text 6. And the woman fled unto the desert, fled from lies unto truth, which she hath a place prepared by Elohim. That prepared place is the eternal truth. It's this channel that she should, this ministry more than anything, that she should be fed. There should be fattened for 1260 days, while the rest of the world would be deceived for 1260 days. But of course, and after those 1260 days, the power of the holy people shall be destroyed. Spectacular 7. Then there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought, but prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. Very well. You already know clearly, that the dragon and his angels is Babylon. It's a third. You already understand that. It's the power that rules this world, that rules and guides this world and has power in it. So then what's it say then? After what? Whether the word after exists or not, it's end. And that means a continuation. But after this, the 1260 days, it just told you that the woman went to the desert for 1260 days. She gave birth to the man-child, became the man-child. That's the way that's clear, is that the woman and the man-child, same thing as the father and the son, the mother and the son, one sole entity. It's just that the woman, when she receives and she understands the things, she becomes the son, begotten son of Elohim. That is what she turns into, the Mashiach. There's a transfiguration. She is taken, caught up, the man, child, and the woman. It's the same thing. Caught up into the desert, taken into the desert, fled into the desert, fled from lies, fled from deceit, from injustice, and that she was fed for 260 days. This comes after, after there was a great battle in heaven. So then this battle takes place after the judgment. I don't want you to miss this. Okay, pay attention and watch this so many times over as you need. When does it take place? After the judgment, after the 1260 days, okay? And there's a reason why it takes place, because there was a judgment. Spiritually, we already took the power to Babylon, believe it or not. Since we are the heirs of this earth, the owners of this earth, the kings of this earth, the supreme saints of this earth, the Mashiach of this earth, when we make judgment, we take the power away from them. This in the spiritual order is known. Do you follow what I'm saying? Even though we don't see anything, we took the power away because we are the owners. It's still not fulfilled, but it's already determined. Once we as judges determine the fall and destruction of Babylon, it's as if in heaven a document was signed dictating the destruction of Babylon. So then there's a fall. Even though we don't see it, the fall is already made. Babylon has fallen. Believe it and as we don't see it with our own eyes, we'll see it very soon. Do you understand what I'm saying? Very well. So then it says, and then there was a great battle in heaven. Why in heaven? In heaven where Elohim lives, here are the Christians and the Lutherans, the those who have to go back to the uterine of their mother, believe that the battle was in heaven, and they believe that it was before, way before this. They think that it was before, back in the time that the earth wasn't even created. That at least the Adventist Lutherans believe that. Others that believe, they don't even know what to believe, but they all have to go back to the uterus. But of course, the uterus of their mother. After there was a war in heaven, they believe that this was before the creation of the earth. This Michael was an angel, and he fought against Lucifer, who was the director of the choir. Then there was a great battle in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. And the dragon fought and his angels. Who are the angels of the dragon? We've already explained it. The third of the earth that belongs to Babylon. I'm explaining it to you so you remember it. It was the third of the angels, those whom he drew away with his tail, that worked directly for him. 1/3 of the earth, which is Babylon, which are the angels of the dragon. The other third are deceived by them. It's his servants. One thing is to be part of Babylon, another is to be a servant of Babylon, another thing is to be an enemy of Babylon. So then the earth is divided in three things, 666. Babylon and his servants, but Babylon, the angels of Babylon are not his servants. It's the integral part of Babylon. Do you understand, right? Those are the angels of Babylon. And then you've got the servants of Babylon, and then you've got the other third that's a rebel against Babylon. Very well. 2/3 are cut off, Babylon and the servants. The angels of Babylon and servants cut off, and the rest, those who are against Babylon, rebel against Babylon, are left. Very well. So then it said, then there was a great, after what? After the judgment, after 1260 days. Don't miss the story. Then there was a great battle in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. And they fought the dragon and his angels. It's like acts. You know, you say act one, and another act like this. First act this. Second act this. Third act this. I'm not going to say a little joke about the acts right now. It's like he's saying acts right now. It's like the woman was closed, the dragon was closed, then second act. Then it says act, second act. A great battle in heaven. What heaven? All the Christians say, where Yahweh lives. No. It's closed for you. You won't understand it. A great battle in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought, but they prevailed not. Neither was their place found anymore in heaven. What the fuck is heaven? Were they in heaven? They were over there after the Antarctica. That's where if you're a globe head, were they over there close to Orion? Is that where the battle was? No, absolutely not. It's got nothing to do with the fact. Absolutely nothing to do with the fact. So then, first of all, I'll repeat this again. This battle starts after the 1260 days of judgment. It comes afterwards. When after that doesn't matter, but it comes. Very well. What is heaven? How should we interpret heaven? Very easy, very easy. What is heaven? It is the place of power, of dominion, the glory or influence. That is heaven. When you say the sky's the limit, it's so easy to understand this. When you get to power, you get to heaven, to the top notch of power. That's heaven. That is heaven. And what is earth? Well, the earth is where we are treaded low key. Some fly very low in heaven, and we're down here being treaded upon. That is, the battle takes place for the power. That is what heaven is. Power, power. What does earth mean? Not dominion, not power, not glory, not influence. None whatsoever. It is to live under earth level. You see, when you say, I used to fly high, but I fell down too low, it's the same thing. Heaven is glory, dominion, power, influence. It's as if to say the top of the power and the floor where you're treaded upon. When you get up to the power, to dominion, to glory, and fallen from power, from dominion and glory. Very well. I'll translate this text like an Argentinian commentator said. Argentina and Messi have gotten to heaven. I wrote it to you so you understand it, because they understand it because they don't impart the biblical part. Argentina and Messi have gotten to heaven, and France has descended from the apex. It is more than clear. They understand clearly what's heaven and what is earth. Argentina and the Messiah have gotten to heaven, but of course, to be champion, you're in heaven, in the apex, at the top, in the pinnacle, if you like that word, in the pinnacle. And France has descended from the pinnacle. France fell. She fell from heaven. One goes up into heaven, one falls from heaven. The Eternal Truth Version, I'll translate it for you. But of course, it could not be written this way, because if it was written this way, imagine if it were written that everyone would understand. They would all understand. No one would need ears to understand. Look at how the text would be. And after the 1260 days, there was a great battle for the power and dominion and glory of the world. The wife and her army fought against Babylon. And Babylon and her armies fought, but prevailed not. Yet there was no more place in power, in the dominion and the glory of the world. If it were written that way, the whole world would have understood it. It's so easy. But the way it's written, I just translated for you because I just explained it. Look at the way it says closed, concealed the text. Then there was a great battle in heaven. Michael, another name of the wife, the son of man, who was like unto Elohim, the wife, the only one. Michael, the wife, and his angels, we already talked about the 144,000 that will come, fought against the dragon. Against whom? Against lies, against power, against Babylon. Fought against the dragon. We're still not started to fight. We're still not starting to fight. This comes after 1260 days. And we're already gone after that, and comes very soon. And the dragon fought Babylon, the lies, injustice, and pharmakeia, and all that shit they have. And his angels, that third, that belong to Babylon. All the doctors, all the politicians, everything. All those in the power of Babylon. Against whom did they fight? Against Michael. The one that is like unto him, but prevailed not. They lost. But prevailed not, neither was there place found any more for them in heaven. In the heaven of power. It is more than clear. No one understands this, but now you understand it. I hope it went over the 200. I don't have. 257 likes. I like that. I said, well, if I don't have 200 likes, I'll stop right here. But maybe they don't like the subject. They don't want to listen anymore. Maybe they want to go out and listen other Lutherans, maybe. Lay uterus of your mother, maybe. Maybe they want to go to the uterus of your mother. If you don't see this is fantastic. Wow, and what's coming up? Michael is the Christ, but of course.
And as well as the representation of Argentina, who has the sun in heaven.
Exactly. The sun in the sky. Exactly. The color of the sky is exactly. Argentina now got to heaven, And prophetically speaking, the color of the flag is heaven and the sky, and the sun, the wife, is getting to the sky. And that has already been determined in the judgment. We haven't seen it, but it's already, the contract has been signed. That's it, it's over. Babylon fell from heaven. When she sees that she's starting to fall, then that's when the little problem is going to start. Just a little problem. It's all going to hit the fan. Very well. Michael is the Christ, the man-child, the Son of Man, the wife, the one that is like unto Elohim. And he comes to fight against the dragon, to rule with the rod of iron the nations, because he is the man-child. Michael is the man-child. Michael is the woman. Michael is the bride. All different names. Why does Yahweh utilize that? To conceal the word. He had to conceal it, right? And if he had to conceal it, he had to conceal it with symbols. You understand that, right? Exactly. What if he had written... I loved my version. I liked it because it's not concealed. I'll read it because I like it. LVE version of Revelation 12:7. After the 1260 days, where the woman was fattened in the desert, there was a war in heaven for power, the dominion and the glory of the world. The wife and her army fought against Babylon, and Babylon and her armies fought, but prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more for them in power, in dominion, and in the glory of the world. That is great, right? Spectacular. Exactly. Just like everything in the eternal truth, it's spectacular. Very well. Now we have to go back to Daniel to understand this. Now we go back to Daniel 12. No, where are we? Yeah, let's go to Daniel 12. I want to read it once again so you understand it. Let's go to Daniel chapter 12, 1 through 4, but this time I'll read in the Jerusalem one, 2001. Daniel 12, 1 through 4. And at that time, I had not read it right there. I had not read it. I said I'm going to read it again. Now it said Daniel 12, but other text, Daniel 12, 1 through 4, Jerusalem 2001. And at that time shall stand up. Actually, it says shall rise up and go to heaven. What is it to stand up? It says, and Michael shall stand up, but if he stands up, it's not that he was laying down. You know what the stupid Adventist says, that Yeshua is sitting and doing judgment, and when he rises up from the table, it's when the time of grace ended. You as Adventists know this. But you see, actually, that is when Michael is not elevated in heaven. It's we. Michael are we. In a moment that we gave judgment, we started that trajectory, but we're still not in heaven. But on paper we are. By at dictation we are, but we're still not in him, but we will be in the power. That's why the text says, same story, at that time shall stand up, elevate, and rise up to heaven, Michael. And why it's the same story? Because exactly it names the same character of Revelation 12. Michael, same one. And at that time shall Michael stand up, shall elevate unto heaven, the great prince that is on the side of the children of the people. Exactly. It's a group of people. It's the Son of Man. It is the man-child. And there shall be a time of trouble, difficult times, more than difficult. It'll be of lots of tribulation, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. I can assure you that still, I know that we've entered into the Great Tribulation, but this is the initiation. I'm going to talk about a little bit more about what it is. If Yahweh says that there's going to be tribulation that there's never been, nor will ever be again, it's a tribulation a lot more than the closing and to stay at home. It's a lot more than to receive the holy water. It's a lot more than for them to put the test up your ass. A lot more than that. That we avoided all that either way, but it goes way past that. It's a tribulation that's brutal. And it tells it to you here. Revelation tells you, Yeshua tells you. Yeshua says that it is a tribulation that's so great, so brutal as never before, never seen, no man has lived through ever. It says that not even the great flood is compared to that, where everyone died. Except for 8. If in the deluge they all died except for 8, then it says that it'll be even worse. And I understand it, because the thing is to see is if you're prepared. It says at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, who came to the heaven of the power, the great prince that takes care of your people. It'll be difficult times, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And so, yeah, if it's going to be difficult times like never before, just imagine what I want you to try to imagine this a little bit. Then shall your people be delivered. Barely then. Then your people be delivered. Your people is not Michael. Michael is another character that elevates to heaven. Michael saves the people because it's the protector, the great prince that standeth for the children of Israel. So who saves them? Michael does. It's more than clear, right? Exactly. Then your people shall be delivered. And why are they delivered? Because, it tells it to you right there. It tells you the reason of which, right? It says, then your people shall be delivered. All those written in the book. Many of those that rest in the sleep, like Daniel, in the dust of the earth shall awake. They'll resurrect, some to everlasting lives, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book till the time of the end. Shut up and seal the book. In another version, it says this book is sealed until when? Until the final moment. When? When Michael understands who he is. When Michael is fattened in the desert for 1260 days. When Michael understands and wants to do judgment, and precisely it'll be made after being fattened for 1260 days. Could have been seen the sign. Didn't understand it all that well, but started with going to the desert for 1260 days to be fattened. When Michael is ready, there will be a judgment, and when Michael is ready, we go up into heaven to the power. It's all that. But you, Daniel, say these words and seal the book until the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. And now let's go to Daniel 7. Daniel 7, 9 through 14. Daniel 7, 9 through 14, Jerusalem 2001 says, I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels, in a wheelchair, that is, as burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands and thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set. This took place the 30th Adar of the year 2022. The judgment was set. The judges sat down, and the books were opened. And I beheld, then fascinated, because of barbarities and rubbish that little horn was speaking. Babylon, fascinated by how Babylon, with his lights, has nobody doing anything with the son of a bitch. Fascinated with the deceits of that little horn that represents the dragon. All the rest wanted to eat everyone, was eating everyone, devouring them with his lies. I beheld, fascinated by the rubbish that little horn spake, and I beheld that the beast was slain. Exactly, this comes after the judgment. They slayed the beast, destroyed her body, and given to the burning flame. As concerning the rest of the beast, the other part of Babylon, they had their dominion taken away. In other words, what does that mean? They were cast down from heaven. They went down. The power was taken down. What does that mean, to take away the power? They came down from heaven. Exactly. And what is the fight in heaven? The fight for the power. The fight in heaven is the fight for power. To be taken down from heaven is that they take away the power. Yet they were left alive, prolonged for a season of time. I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven. It was a concealed book. In this story, the clouds of heaven, and summoned like unto the Son of Man. It's Michael. And came to the Ancient of Days, and was presented before him. And there was given him dominion, glory, and kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. Exactly. Absolutely. It says God to the power, God to the power. But look at what it says. And I saw come upon the clouds of heaven, that is the power. Already, the Ancient of Days makes him go up into the clouds of heaven, aside from what it means that it's concealed. But to go up into the clouds of heaven, what does it mean then? To go up into the power, to be in authority. It says to go up in the clouds of heaven, Yahweh. The Ancient of Days says that he gave him power, honor, and glory. It's to be in heaven, power, kingdom, and glory. Tell me, Babylon doesn't have the power today? Of course. Don't they have the kingdom today? But of course. And who takes the honor? They do. We have any honor? No. We are hated crazy, even for Christians, which is part of Babylon. So then, the clouds of heaven, it's when Michael goes up. Michael is elevated. Michael is elevated to power. What does power mean? What does heaven mean? Power, honor, and kingdom. And all the peoples, nations, and tongues served him. His power is eternal, and it'll get to heaven forever. It is to go to heaven forever. His power is eternal, and never again shall pass away, and his kingdom shall not be destroyed. Absolutely magnificent. So then you guys got it, right? And then there was a great battle for the power. Michael and his angels fought against Babylon, and her angels fought, and her followers. But not her followers, the dragon and her army. But they did not prevail, nor was there place found for them ever again in the glory and the power. They descended from there. Very well, 9. It's been 2 hours already. Do we make it longer today? Well, I'll just explain one more text. Let's go to just one more text, because a very good part is coming up. Very good one. Well, it's all good. I mean, from the get-go, it opens up your mind. Because the last subject, I don't know if a lot of people watched it. I don't know. Maybe they weren't interested. Maybe they don't care anymore. Maybe they already know it. Maybe these people know it all. And they could care less about watching anything. Because look, last subject of Bethuwlah, part 1, it's got 3,600 views. And part 2, 2,500. And I was like, maybe they didn't really care about the subject. Maybe they already knew this. Maybe I'm repeating, like you say, just a good review. Maybe it's just a good review of the prophecy. You already know this, maybe. I don't know. We didn't even get to 300 likes today, as Leslie says. Wow, the number starts to be reduced. I mean, that's fine. That's fine. There's no problem. The least we are, even better. It'd be even more glorious. For the glory that comes will spread the earth between less people. All of you that have to leave, go. I don't want no infiltrators here. I don't want anybody here with mixed sentiments, mixed feelings. I don't want anybody here that's not an Argentine. That's not really an Argentum. Fuck off. Fuck off. I really don't need you. I really don't need you. There's got to be the same feeling here, the same spirit. United to the group, just like Argentina was. That's why she turned out her champion. Argentina was united to the group, absolutely united, not in disarray. It was one team. This is not selection, it's a team. A team, and we're one. We are one. If there's not one same feeling here, really, you're not a part. Either you fuck off by your own account, or Elohim will take you out. But let us be whatever number we are. That's fine. It doesn't worry me. Not in the very least. Not at all. 9. And the great dragon was cast out, the old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth, well, Babylon, of course, deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. This is magnificent. Why? Because I consider this, in the moment in which we sentenced them, he was cast down. It just means for the sentence to be taken into account. But in the spiritual world and in the real world where Yahweh handles his children, that is already done. Period. Done. We all just need for the time to get here and for them to fall. But in my point of view, Babylon already fell. It's already there. Only the time needs to be up and the sentence will be taken into account. It's already been given. It's like when they sentence a man. It's the same for them to kill him that day or 2 years later, but he's already on death row. You understand what I'm saying? That's why is dead men walking. When a prisoner is on death row and is walking, he's a dead man walking. Dead man walking. He's alive, but actually he's dead because already's got the sentence above him. It's just like the sentence when a witch doctor does it of the new religion, pharmakeia. You got a sentence, you got these days, and fuck off. That's it, it's over. If you believe the sentence and you give them authority and you worship that religion, you worship that institution that the whole world does worship, then of course you're gonna listen to your pastor, your priests. They're your priests. They're your priests. The one that tells you you've got this, and we checked you, and yeah, you've got that other thing, and that's it. Fucked off. Bye. Like Pelé. Bye. Later. See you later. That's the way it is. 9. And the great dragon was cast out. That old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world, and he was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. I should not have to explain anything else. You should already explain it to me. If you understood the previous one, you understand what this text means. That precisely Babylon and all those who compose Babylon, all those that deceivers and deceived of science and politicians and all who are angels of Babylon fall. In other words, they fall on their own lies. Notice that the word cast out, all the Christians take this into account, and you also believe this, that cast out dragon, it was when God kicked Lucifer out from heaven. He was cast out from heaven out, and it fell on the earth. That's what everybody believes. The Lutherans that got to go back to the uterus. So then it says, what does the word to cast out mean? We have to go to the word cast out, which is G906. G906 in Strong's dictionary called balo. Balo. It's a primary verb to cast out and throw in many violent or intense applications. How can balo be also translated? To place, precipitate, to sow, right, because you're casting out the seeds. To lay, to kick out, to impose, throw, put in, lay, to throw out, to fall, to give, leave, to pour out, throw down. Exactly. So any one of those, the dragon was cast down from power, cast down from heaven. He was thrown down from power. The word that I like most here is felled. Since France was felled from the podium, we do agree, right? Just like you fell a tree. You cut it down. It was a champion and it landed on the ground. Felled. And the one that went into the podium was Argentina, the world champion. Very well. Okay, Babylon is felled from power, from the glory, from their worldwide dominion, but it's alive. That is true. It's still alive and tries to recover it. This is where the story is made. As soon as Babylon sees that they are losing its power and it's going down, that is when, like any country in the world, would try in their last battle to recover it. But of course, tries to recover it. The lies, deceive, were felled, just like France was felled from the podium from the World Cup. By this time, a third of the world already abhors Babylon. By this time, a third of the world's already against Babylon and its lies. Another third, it's an integral part of Babylon, and another third are the slaves of Babylon. Defender to death, which deceiveth the whole world. But of course, the entire world means not the third world, because the other third is not deceived. It's got certain deceits, but the most important part, which is pharmakeia, they're not, because the pharmakeia marks through that. And so then the other group, the whole world is deceived for A or B, for many deceives that Babylon has. That's fine. But in the deceit in which the world was going to be tested, in that deceit, they cannot be deceived. At least a third, and that third is the one that does not have the mark of the beast. Very well. It's partial. That deceiveth the whole world, yeah, but actually he can mark the world, 2/3 of the world, not 1/3. At third, he cannot. And he was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Balo, actually, it's the beginning of the fall. It's when Babylon sees that she's losing power, and she's already seen that she's losing the power, and I think something's coming up. I think that something is coming up. Just like I told you, that last play of Friends, and do the last thing to win, that is precisely what Babylon will do, and they'll do it this year, 2023. But of course, no more time. The time is over. 10. Then I heard a voice in heaven that said, now salvation has come. A text of the invitation. Now the salvation is here, the power and the kingdom of our Elohim and the authority of his Mashiach. Why the authority? Because the Mashiach goes up into heaven and comes down from heaven, the dragon, the fight for the world government, the fight for the glory of the world, the fight for the authority. That's why it says now Michael has been elevated, the same thing as Daniel 12. Now salvation has come, power, kingdom of our Elohim, and the authority of his Messiah. Finally, up until now, the Messiah had never had any authority, ever. Barely now, when the fight starts, that is when authority is given to the Mashiach. Now comes, and the text says it clearly. It says, what has come? So then I heard a great voice in heaven that said, now, not before, never before, now is when Michael goes up. It's just like Daniel chapter 12. Daniel chapter 12 says, on that time will Michael rise up. Exactly. Now the authority of Michael has come. Now the salvation, power, and the kingdom of our Elohim has come, and the authority of his Mashiach. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before Elohim day and night. And how do you understand this? That's more than clear. You should already understand this clearly with all the symbols I've already given you. Precisely when Babylon goes down, the dragon goes down, the authority goes down from its power, and if it initiates the fight and the Mashiach goes up and receives authority, he is the one that casts the accuser down. And what does it mean to be cast down? Is to take away his power. What power over our brethren? And what is it to accuse? Well, I'll read it to you. I'll read this to you in the book of the people of God, which was in the invitation. I like the way it comes out. The book of the people of God, it says, and I heard a loud voice in heaven. It has just arrived, finally arrived. It's here, the salvation, the power, and the kingdom of our God, and the sovereignty of his Mashiach. Just like Messi was fighting his whole life for the world title and never got it, got other things, but never the world title. When he won it, he went to his wife and he told her with his mouth, ya está, it's done, it's done. When he looked over at Montiel and looked at all his family, he says, that's it, ya está, it's over. The same expression, that's it, we're champions already. It's here, finally it's here. Finally, the most desired title is here. Because to play in Barcelona in those piece of shit clubs, it's all a piece of shit, a complete piece of shit. What glory is there? There's nothing like playing for your selection. It's nothing. You could win world balls. Nothing of that is good. I want to be a world champion. But of course, absolutely. But of course, there's a great difference. Absolute difference. That's it. It's over. I got it. I achieved it. That's what the text says. And I heard a loud voice in heaven saying, that's it. Ya está, which means that's it. Anda pa allá, bobo, which means go on over there, you idiot. Go on your way, idiot. That salvation is here, the power and the kingdom of our God and the sovereignty of his Messiah. For the accuser has been cast down, fell from power, cast down, precipitated. I love the word precipitated. Has been precipitated from power. The accuser of our brethren, which day and night accused them before our Elohim. I'm going to explain that whole phrase because it's very, very good. I don't know if you should explain it now or... Let's see, it's 2 hours 14. Today we're going to eat ravioli, but at night. Ravioli with a sauce that Leslie made spectacular. And ravioli The ones that I told you that are so good. Haiti brown, right? Haiti and minto brown ravioli. It's spectacular. But that'll be at night. We're gonna just, try some things, just like, a little snack, which is different things. Fiambres, which are all from beef, and cheese, and I made some pizza, so not for the night, but just to picar, as it says, to delicately try, so that you don't just pig out on it and then you eat at night, because we've already been fattened for 1,260 days. Now we have to go down a little bit. We have to lose some weight. We've been fattened a lot. Very well. Now has come the salvation, the authority, and the sovereignty, and the glory, and the power of his Messiah, the Christ, the man-child, which is the wife, the children of Elohim, the Son of Man, receives the authority, the sovereignty to save and redeem and destroy the beasts. That is for authority to be given to the Messiah. That is the authority of the star of the morning. Different symbols. Yeshua says, I will give them to him that overcometh. I will give him authority over the nations. And also I'm going to give them, obviously, or else if we don't have the power to destroy the morning star, it's divinity in different symbols. The accuser, the word accuser comes from the Greek, from the Strong's Dictionary, G2725, G2725. And the word in Greek is kategoros. Sounds like categorical, right? Categoros. Sounds like E because it's got an accent mark. Categoros. Against one of the assembly, that is categoros, against one of the assembly, complaining against the law. So then it explains, because the Strong's Dictionary, it's got a lot of Christian influence. It was an extremely Christian who wrote it. Every time they tried to translate it, they tried to translate it in the Christian way of translating. That's why it says specifically Satan. Why? Why to put in the Strong's Dictionary specifically Satan if it says categoros? And categoros is one that is against the assembly. That is what the accuser means. One that is against the assembly, which actually is against. It could also be complaining of the law, but it's not. But the original is against one of the assembly. That is precisely the accuser, one of the assembly. Then it says specifically. Why specifically? Well, the Strong's Dictionary says, because the Strong who did it is another one that has to go to the uterus. But of course, Lutheran. Specifically Satan, the accuser. Literally, it means the one that is against the people, the one that is against one of the people, that is the accuser of the brethren. So then what does this mean? Who is against the assembly, against the people, against justice, against liberty, against freedom and truth specifically? The against is Babylon. He's against always, he's against everything always. So then, within the prophetic symbol, the accuser, when the text comes, when it says, because has been cast out, the power has been taken out from the accuser of our brethren, the one that, not the accuser, because it's not accusing. Babylon's not accusing you, it's against something, you understand? Our contrary. It's very clear. It's just that Yahweh, within the translations and amongst all the symbols that he gave John to write, he made sure for no one to understand. One says, yeah, of course, Satan is in heaven, in the face of God, accusing Pepito did this and that, Juancito did that and this, and that's how Christians believe. The guy was accusing. Yeah, I saw this guy. He did this and that in secret. No one knows. Only he knows. The bodybuilder knows. It's secret things, but Satan knows. So then it says he goes and accuses him. He accuses Ale. How? Yeah, the baker also. They accuse Ale, see? So then, see, that's how the Christians believe it. The Lutherans believe it that way. Oh, they're going to accuse. He's accusing us. If it weren't for him, it's not what the text says. The text says he was cast out. The power was taken out. He comes out from the apex of power, our contrary, not ours, the contrary of our brethren. I'm going to explain that later. The who is against our brethren, who was against our brethren. We could say the bully of our brethren. The one that's against, that one that won't fuck off all day. The one that accused them, the one that assault them, it'd be better. It would assault them, it'd be a lot better than to accuse. What if I were, that would be the word. He's been cast out, the assaulter of our brethren, not the accuser, but the assaulter. The one that would assault them before our Elohim day and night. Now you can understand it even better. And that before our Elohim does not mean that let's suppose this is Satan, because that's how the Christians look at him, like that. This is a little devil. It's Eddie, but let's suppose the Christians see them, they see a demon. So then this guy, the accuser, he would go and tell Yahweh in some way or another, and he would see what somebody was doing, and he would go and accuse, and he'd go to the face of Elohim to say, in the face of Elohim, what Ali had done, for example. He'd go to the face of Elohim to tell him. So then, the Christians are so terrified of that, but it's not what the text says. He was cast out, not the accuser, but the assaulter of our brethren, the one that is against. I don't want to say deceiver, that's not the word. It is the accuser. It's perfectly well said, the ones that is against us. Our contrary. Very well. So then, Babylon takes us, it's always against that. It's our assaulter. It's always against that. It's our adversary. Is always against that and would dominate us and subjugate us in our face. That is what it means, in the face of Elohim. What does that mean? I'll repeat the text again. The text says, he has been cast out, the assaulter of our brethren, which assaulted them before our Elohim day. And it doesn't mean that the assaulter would go and tell Elohim. It means that Elohim was always watching what he did in his face, as if they stole in his face. They would lie to his face. It means that this whole world, what they have suffered, we and our brethren, on behalf of Babylon, our assaulter and enemy, the contrary of the truth and everything, it's done everything in the face of Elohim. That's what it said, that Elohim sees, looks and sees. That's why we say, where's the Elohim of justice? But it's more than that. The text is indicating something. In case you didn't notice, it says that the assaulter of our brethren, Babylon, the devil and Satan, the dragon, assaults our brethren in the face of Elohim. Once we know, what the text says is that Elohim handles the assaulter, because he, in the end of it all, is assaulting us through the dragon. Just as he assaulted Eve, that serpent of old was him. Do you understand what I'm saying? As I've always taught you, Babylon is a beast, a puppet. What's the word? A toy of Elohim. It's the weapon that he uses against this creation. He needs it. He creates it. So then, that part that says, I'll read it again. It says that, I'll read the way it is, okay? It says, because he has been cast out, the accuser of our brethren, which accused them before our Elohim. That before is in the face or in the presence of Elohim. What it means is that he is on a permanent control of the beast. He has the role of a protagonist in this creation, if he is the creator, but of course, then everything the beast has done, he does in the face of Elohim, and that means that he handles the beast. Do you understand that? He tells it to you, I place kings and take kings out. That's why it's all concealed. It says there's no evil that comes to any city if Yahweh doesn't send it. And if Yahweh sends it, how does he send it? Through his beast. Because he owns the beast. Who created the beast on the fifth day? Who did? It says Yahweh created the beast. And who created the beast on the sixth day? The other beast. Yahweh created the beast. And who created men? Yahweh. So then, it's so easy to understand when it's in your face, but in the same time, it's so hidden that Christians understand of this something so laughable that there is a Satan Lucifer that would accuse us, the human beings, in the face. He would go tell him in the face, and he had time to go and accuse him, and then watch around, and then accuse, and he had to be and omnipresent to see all the actions, or else he's going to do it. Tell me, if he has to be seeing what Minto does, he has to see what Hector does, he has to see what Ariel, Cadmiel, Edgardo, and all of you does, he has to do them all at the same time, and then go and accuse them. How does he do it? I mean, he's more than God. He is more powerful than God. He sees everything at the same time, because while he would accuse them, he would miss out on the other actions that they could be doing. Because that's not what the text says. See, the Christians believe that. Christians believe that. That's not what the text says. The text clearly says that God handles the beast. That the beast, the dragon, does everything in his face. In other words, under his own perfect guidance. That is what the text says, if you want to understand it. I'll read it the way it is again, and then you'll understand it. Every time you read it, you'll continue to understand it. It says, "And then I heard a loud voice in heaven saying, Now is come salvation and strength and kingdom of our Elohim, and the authority of his Mashiach. For he has been cast down, the accuser of our brethren, which accused them before our Elohim day and night, in the face of our Elohim day and night. They have been cast down. The power is over, the dominion is over, the glory is over against our brethren." And who are our brethren? Because notice that it's not against. Notice about something. Okay. I'll say it again. I'll say a little point that I missed. Then I heard a loud voice in heaven saying, "Now is come salvation and strength and kingdom of our Elohim and the authority of his Mashiach," or Messiah. What does he hear? What does he hear? John. "And then I heard a loud voice," where? In heaven. Let's continue with what I've just explained. If he hears a voice in heaven, it means something else other than what you're already thinking. It's not that all of a sudden in heaven somebody says, "Yay!" There's no one in heaven that is our brethren, nor of Babylon, nor of anyone. So then I heard a voice in heaven. Who is that voice in heaven? I'll let that simmer, and I'll take a little break. Who is that voice in heaven? I've already explained it. Let's see if somebody writes it. Who is it? Yes, it's the Messiah. Exactly, it's Michael. If the dragon is now in heaven and his angels, and there's a fight, and Michael ascends, and he goes to heaven and fights, Michael fights against the dragon, and the dragon starts to descend. Then I heard a voice in heaven. Who's that voice in heaven? It won't be the dragon, but of course not. It'll be the other one. That voice in heaven is that of the Mashiach. The Mashiach, the son of Elohim, yells and says, are you understanding? This is just a small detail that if I hurry up, you'll miss out on it, and I might miss out on it too. Then I heard, John says, a great voice in heaven. Why a great voice? Because it's a whole quantity. A great voice in heaven saying, "Now, finally, like Messi was telling his wife, ya está. It's done. Now we're champions. Now we jump as calves, as goats." What was the other word? As calves, or whatever, same thing. As calves, as the goat, the greatest of all time. As wild goats, we jump. Now it's here. That's the voice of the Messiah. I was missing out on that part. Now has come the great voice in heaven saying, now is come salvation and strength and kingdom of our Elohim, because it says our Elohim. Because they have YHWH, for they have it's only one Elohim. The one that's speaking is the Messiah, and the Messiah is the wife, and the wife is the man-child. And the man-child says, finally, that is what we desire, what we're going to yell. Like the Argentinian selection yelled, finally, finally, got here, it's over, finally, it's here. What? Our Elohim, we only have one Elohim. He says, what? Who got here? The power and the kingdom of our Elohim and the authority of his Mashiach. Who's his Mashiach? It's him, the one speaking, the one him. I am the Mashiach. Because he has been cast out. Who? The accuser of our brethren, the one that assaulted them in the face on behalf of our Elohim, we could say perfectly well, very well. You understood it. But then who are our brethren? Now I understand that it's not little angels with their asses hanging out in heaven saying, hey, look at our idiot little bros down there. So when the Mashiach rises up, they're like, oh, that's great, let's yell. Let's yell, they said, because the Mashiach has got here with everything. And so then the dragon has gone down that accused our brethren. Hold on, we're brethren of those down below. No, we don't have any fucking brother in heaven except for Yahweh. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand how easy it is to understand it when the symbol is explained to you? This is closed. In heaven there's no one except for Yahweh and his angels. But there's no human beings. Absolutely, there's only one. Heaven is not that there, but to the sides. So then there's no one that says, finally it's here, the salvation of our brethren. No. The one that's speaking is the Mashiach that got to heaven. Heaven is the apex of power. When they get the power, it says the salvation of brethren has gotten here. Why? Because I'm going to save them. Because I'm going to fuck up Babylon. I'm going to shit on Pape and anyone that gets in the way. Oh, the trans. I'm going to of course, the best way of stopping Pape, I forgot to tell you this. I noticed this to get him stuck. Because he likes to get stuck. Because if you stick Pape with a good trance, he won't advance. Do I have to explain it to you, or do I cry of sadness that you don't understand shit?
It is only for Argentinians.
It's for Argentinians only. Right, exactly. Pape, you just got to get him stuck with a trance, and that's it, it's over. They didn't stick him. Just needed to get stuck. To get stuck with a trap. And Pape wouldn't do anything, he'd be stuck in the trap right there, because that's what he likes. Trapped and stuck. Okay, and so then it says, well, salvation got here. Salvation got here. See, the thing is that all the Argentinian players are very macho. They don't like a trap, so then you see they would leave them play freely. There needed to be a trap there and get annulled. Either way, we annulled them. Right. Salvation got here. So then who are brethren? You already know. Somebody says, our brethren. Who are our brethren? The Mashiach, the wife of Yahweh, the judgment says, our brethren. Exactly. Because the Mashiach wants to save everyone. But of course, absolutely. Her name is Yeshua, salvation. Actually, our brethren are all the human beings that have ever existed. Those are the ones that we judged as judges. All the human beings that have ever existed. But here specifically in this prophecy, since we have to follow it specifically, we have to place ourselves, whom do we call brethren at that time? And our brethren are that third. When Michael goes up into power and there's a fight, and he receives the star of the morning, he receives power, he says, finally, now, I will save my brethren. And who are my brethren? I've already told you now, because it's the ones that we're going to save. A third of the earth. A third of the earth. That includes also the group that will be resurrected, because the one's going to resurrect them is Michael. Within them is Daniel. So then, the liberation from wickedness is in charge of the Messiah, and the Messiah says, finally, I have the power. If I did not liberate my brethren, it's because I don't have any power. If you did not unite to me to liberate our brethren, it's because I don't have power. But once we get to the top of power, we will yell, now is the time to free our brethren. Do you understand what I'm saying? That piece of shit assaulter Babylon. Why? Because we're going to shit on them. We're going to fuck off Babylon. We're going to destroy that statue and liberate our brethren. But who are our brethren? A third of the earth. They don't even know that they're our brethren. But we know that they are brethren, prophetically speaking. Do you understand that? Not only them, the 144,000 that are included, and also those that are dead that will be resurrected, all of them are our brethren. Those who oppose Babylon right at this point in time, either you're Babylon, or you're a slave of Babylon, or you are a rebel against Babylon. Our brethren are those rebel to Babylon, who are enemies Babylon and his followers. That is how the story will end. Babylon and his followers against a third of the earth. We, our brethren, are the third of the earth. The rest are also our brethren, but not for now, because we're going to let them rest for 1,000 years. That is the magnificent part. So then when it says, I'll read the text once again. I'll read the text once again. And then I heard a loud voice in heaven. Well, let's go ahead and read it. Let's go ahead and read it in the other version, the one we use for the invitation. And I heard a powerful voice in heaven. That powerful voice is that of the Mashiach. It's already here. Salvation. Who got here? Yeshua already got here. It is us. The power and the kingdom of our God. That we are YHWH. We only have one God, our husband. And the sovereignty, of course, finally, the sovereignty of what? Of his Mashiach. Because he has been precipitated. We've just sent to earth the assaulter of our brethren, the one that day and night would assault them before our Elohim. Okay, that they say precisely is said by the Mashiach. Who are our brethren? That third of the earth. What did Babylon do with those brethren? I shall explain it next Shabbat. I'll read the text and stop here. I shall not explain not another word. Today's New Year's, and I'll let you celebrate. Number 11 says, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb. Who are they? The brethren. The brethren of the Mashiach. You understand, right? The third. And they, the brethren, overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death. What does that mean? I shall explain it next Shabbat, because it's excellent, it is very good, and I believe that I've already explained to you enough for today. 237. I desire with all my heart that this year 2022 that is ending with rain, how pretty it's ending, be the last of the dominion of the dragon of Babylon. The last that is in the apex of heaven of his power. And I desire that in this new year 2023 it be the true year of Jubilee, all the ones that we're waiting, that it be the year that Michael ascends to heaven, that it be the year that the wife ascends into heaven to power. You already understand when they say heaven. Maybe you're still thinking, it wasn't that they were going to heaven. Yeah, we're going to be to heaven in the end of it all. Into heaven, the heaven of power, the heaven of glory, the heaven of authority, and forever. And we shall stay in that heaven forever. And the rest down here on earth, and Babylon buried for 1,000 years. Buried for 1,000 years. But those who go up into heaven, those who ascend into power, they will never again descend. It is forever. And that will be for the man-child. That will be the wife of Yahweh, the one that sits with authority. And I wish that all this be an eternal reality. I see it all as prophetical. Those who will continue to be studied about the dates, it's marvelous. Do not miss out on part 4, because I shall explain what follows, which is way too good. If you liked it up until here, what follows is rather spectacular. That this year, 2023, be the true year of the Jubilee, the year of the crowning of the Mashiach, or like Leslie said, Mama Shiach. I loved it, the way you wrote it. Since nobody was watching the last subject, I started to watch it. What a phenomenal subject. I mean, I liked it personally so. I liked it. And Leslie wrote a comment, Mama Shiach. That's great. Ma Shiach. She repeated, Mama. Why Mama? Because we are the Mama. We're Eve. We're the mother of them all. That's why they are our brethren, our children. Eve is the mother of every human being. The wife of Yahweh is the mother of every human being. Because we are going to give them life. She will give birth to them once again. We shall study that next Shabbat. Mama Shiach. What a great name, Leslie. Mama Shiach. That this year, 2023, be the year of Mama Shiach. A very happy and blessed year 2023 for every one of you. Let us conclude with a word of prayer. Beloved Yeshua, beloved husband, we give you thanks for letting us understand this book that was written for us. It is your love letter, and we shall understand it because these things will happen soon. We give you thanks for this year that passed. We give you thanks because you have fattened us greatly with your instruction during 1260 days, and everything that came afterwards, it is still continues to be a glory of instruction. We hope that this year we wait for you this year and that you give us the morning star, and this year we wait for us to ascend to the power and to see with our own eyes and by ourselves to provoke the descension of Babylon. All this I thank you for. Bless us greatly this year, and that we can see your magnificent works, your right arm, in your precious name, Yahweh Sebaot, Yeshua, our husband. Alleluia. There it is, dog. Semper Fi. You didn't let me finish. Semper Fi to every one of you. May you have a very, very happy new year, and that this year be the year of the Mama Shiach. Long live the sons and daughters of Elohim. Alleluia to every one of you. Many thanks for this year. Many thanks for all the comments, for all the cards, for all the presents, but especially for your company, of everyone that's here and of all that listen to me through this screen. It has been a marvelous year for us. It has been a year with your company. It's been a spectacular year, and I want to thank you, both Leslie and I, for your company, for your perseverance, for your strength, for your companionship. All your comments are gold for us. That effort to continue to belong to this group. It is that group that Michael makes up. It is that group that unites and ascends to heaven. That is the group that Yahweh is forming, that formed for 1260 days and is still forming.
Many congratulations. Many congratulations. You want to see the
Flag?
A very happy new year to every one of you.
What a precious flag.
So then where are we? In heaven.
We're in heaven, exactly.
Not just because it is the Argentinian flag, but sincerely, we are in heaven. I've told you, I don't know, can I say hi?
Yes, of course, it's all yours. They're all yours.
If I get on the mic right now, no.
Let's dress up. I saw a woman dressed with the sun.
I'll be 3 hours here.
This is a woman dressed with the sun. A woman dressed with the sun we have here.
Here she is.
See?
Standing before you.
Woman dressed with the sun. There you have it. What a beauty.
A little chunky, if I might say.
Well, she was fattened. There was no way to avoid that.
Well, sincerely, you already know, I've posted pictures since back in 2019, which is when what happened, that came everything that we discovered, YHWH and all that. And actually, I've told you when I said hello, I don't know if it was the end of the year or when, of how we felt. We felt in heaven. We felt in heaven for having discovered something so marvelous. Excuse me, but this week was crazy. That's why I'm a little bit with a cold. It's a little difficult for me to speak because I'm congested. And, well, all kinds of things happened because also Brian lost his pet of the two that he had this week. He had that little guinea pig. And so that was this week.
He was already old, 6 years old, life to the fullest.
Right. Last week, the dryer broke, so then he had to fix it, but I don't know how we do it. Either way, Chris and I, we put everything on our shoulder, and on the Shabbat, the study turns out very well, as if nothing happened. I don't know how we do it. And it was 2 days editing up until 6 a.m.
Right, she's insane. She wouldn't sleep.
Yeah, right. So then, it takes its work. Everything takes its work. You don't see it, but oh well. And for every one of you, since you grabbed the first video of our ministry, which was called The Last Message, well, this is the last message. And the text that Christian read from Revelation 10:3, that says, "For you kept the word of my patience." And other versions say, "And you were constant. You had me
My patience.
And other versions say, "And you were constant. You had me."
Exactly.
You had me patience with me. You
Had perseverance.
You were perseverance. Yes, but I said, wow, of course. Who drove you crazy? The eternal truth? Do dar. And then let's do the liver cleansing. Let's go here. Let's do that. Let's go here. Let's do that. Do this. Do that. And then finally, you are Argentinian.
Stop eating cooked foods.
Eat raw.
Cooked. Stop eating meat. Go eat meat again.
Wow. It was all these changes.
Eat egg now.
But you followed it with patience. You really, congratulations. All those of you that come with patience since back then, you have persevered in the word. You continued on. The last part is to watch the game.
With emotion, those that tell me.
It's not that we're nationalists, because Christian...
We're extreme nationalists of LVE.
But of course.
Exactly. Of the Son of Man, Michael.
Precisely in what is football. Precisely last Shabbat we were saying, well, could it be that, on the game day, and what if this is just a test for all the followers of the eternal truth to see if they root for Argentina, for the one that has the colors of heaven, for the Son of Righteousness? I don't know, for what we indicated to you that there could be a prophecy in the sense of it was presented, because if it was all a show, like many of you said, because I don't know, in the sense of it was presented, because if it was all a show, like many of you just say it very lightly, I don't know, because maybe just joking, but if it was all a show, we also made you watch Matrix. Matrix was a show, but
exactly, obviously.
But Yahweh reveals himself through
symbols,
figures, symbols of realities, of things that are close to us and that can make us understand things.
He handles the beast and does what he wants.
Exactly, so then...
It was a prophecy fulfilled, like Pelé also.
Of course.
Brazil decreed 3 days of mourning when he died. The most important person in the world was tremendous. Tell me if that was not a prophecy also.
Right, exactly. During this week.
Brutal.
Right, brutal. So then we are more than hopeful for next year.
A very happy new year for everyone.
Let the loud blast come.
But of course, may Michael arise and ascend.
Exactly. Well, anyway, we're gonna go and celebrate.
How about a kiss? For the happy new year. Many thanks for accompanying us.
And many thanks to all of you for all of your love, to you who have remained. Wow, congratulations. Yes, to you.
Absolutely.
So then, thanks.
Many blessings to every one of you. Alleluia to every one of you.
Alleluia.
Long live Mashiach. Long live the sons and daughters of Elohim. Semper Five to every one of you. And a happy and a very blessed year 2023. Alleluia to every one of you.
Alleluia.